In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everyone, to the inaugural episode of Wasted with Wise. And tonight we got a stellar panel here, and we've got some more people coming on in. And as they come on in, I'm going to introduce them. And we're going to do a little bit something different than your traditional shows here, okay? It's a Friday night. I work all week. So by the time Friday rolls around, I'm pretty fucking tired. And I just am here to make sure that you guys are relaxed, not taking anything freaking seriously. And, we're going to drink a little drinks and talk some shit. And if when we get to whatever topics we get to, if we don't get to it all, well, fuck it. Who cares? So let me go ahead and get started here. So let's start off with our panel members first. My first panel member, I cannot confirm or deny his existence. Darth Praxis, how are you doing? What are you playing and what are you drinking?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. And welcome back to the States. I know you were doing your thing for a while. I won't talk about what kind of thing you were doing. But I've been not playing a whole lot. I've been working this week. Whatever I play is just kind of jumping in, like Call of Duty and getting out. I've had a couple of games that I want to try. A couple friends of mine have been playing some RPGs that popped into Game Pass, and I just kind of want to check in on those. And drinking, because I can't really drink much, is this hop water, which is basically it's basically sparkling water with hops in it. So it tastes like beer, but it's not.
Well, whatever gets the job done, right?
Yeah, it's better than not drinking, I guess. It's close.
Okay, our next panelist is a guy who woke up early this morning to buy himself the PlayStation 5 Spider-Man Edition. Cerebral Paul, how are you doing and what are you drinking?
Yeah, that ain't happening. I am. Oh, let's see. If I was drinking right now, the mood I've been in lately would be Mad Dog 2020. But,
The good stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you're going to have a hangover, do it right,
Exactly.
Yeah, started on the first sip, right? Yeah.
Whatever's worth doing is worth doing right, damn it. That's what I say.
That's right. That's right.
So
and let's see. And I've been playing Diablo, as anybody would paying attention would know. In fact, I just hit level 60 on my season character. Jeez. And if you... In fact, no, when I say I just hit level 60, I mean, while Darth was talking, it told me I hit level 60.
So basically, you're sitting there playing while you're supposed to be doing your job and helping me with this.
I'm always playing when I'm on podcast most of the time. I've told you guys that. I can actually do both. I can.
Well, once we start paying the panelists, you're not getting paid for playing video games. I'm sorry about that one.
Wait a second. No, actually, yes, I am at that point, So if you really want to know how sad this is, since the game is launched, this includes a week of being off because my console blew up. 29 days, 2 hours, and 2 minutes as of right now in Diablo 4.
Jesus Christ, consistently?
Dude. That's his total time.
Dude, oh my God. There is this thing called life, like when you turn off the TV and you turn off the console and you look around, things happen,
What the hell am I supposed to do? What the hell am I supposed to do at that point? Okay, I'm just...
You're closing in on 700 hours there.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, he deserves some sort of pride, the disabled gamer with the most clocked in hours in Diablo 4 or something, I don't know. You need a trophy of some kind, I don't know. Maybe give you a broken twig as an award.
Sounds like an achievement that Microsoft needs to make for you, man. That'd be awesome.
All right. Achievement. Well, let me go ahead and while we're waiting for my other panelists to come in, let me go ahead and introduce you to our first guest tonight. Our guest tonight is trying to convince his dietitian that pizza is a legitimate food group. Mr. Bushido, how are you doing? And
It
what are
is a
you
legitimate
playing?
food group. What is your problem? What is?
Thank you, Paul. Paul, it really is. I understand where the debate comes in at. It's actually easy. I mean, you got your meat in it,
Yeah,
you got your
meat,
cheese,
vegetables, dairy.
bread. Exactly,
You got
exactly.
it
You get
all.
everything.
It's multiple food groups. It's all of them in one.
Yes.
Exactly.
It's a superfood
Multi-food
group.
groups.
Exactly.
Um, it is, I've been playing Remnant from the Ash, Remnant 2, excuse me. Remnant 2, and I've been super duper addicted, and I haven't been playing anything else. And I'm glad I finally found a game to play until Starfield because I was losing my mind. And I really mean it. I was really losing it. Like, I can't wait to play Starfield. I want it now, and now I got something that has my attention. So I didn't
Well,
think it would have my attention like this, but it does.
there's this small indie game that came out. I don't know if you heard of it. It's not on Game Pass, but you can buy it still for Xbox. It's called Diablo 4. I think Paul is playing that a little bit.
I've
here and
heard of
there.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never heard of that one. Sorry. Yeah.
It's a small developer. They're not really. This is like I think their first foray or something like that, or I don't know.
Really? Huh, I heard
All
that one.
right.
But
Okay.
that's start to broaden my horizons.
Yeah, maybe you need to explore that a little bit, I guess, right? So
Yeah, I'll try that next time. I'll try it next
It's
time.
like stretching a dad joke too far. Come on, man. Settle down.
all right. Okay, so question, since you are our guest for one of our first guests on this show, what is your poison of choice?
Well, for Loco.
What?
For Loco.
Oh dear God!
What did you say?
Yeah.
What did you say?
Well, you did say poison, so there you go.
Yeah. For Loco is my jam.
For Loke?
For
Okay.
For loco, man.
Oh shoot. Oh my god. So what are you
Yeah,
Oh
there
my
you go.
god. I thought you said for Loke. So what the heck is for
No,
Loke?
no, he said
no,
for
For
loco.
Loco.
That's why I got the response I did. Holy shit, dude! Wow.
Well, hindsight being 2020 and shit, that sort of explains a whole hell of a lot right
That
now.
does too.
Yeah.
Too, so it all depends on how you look
Hey,
at it.
listen, that episode on Doomsayers Den, a couple of things happened from that, and one was one of your favorite moments, and the other one wasn't one of mine because it involved Wooly, and I was too nice to him. And at the end of it, when I heard myself, I was like, "You were way too nice at the end." But at the whatever, you know.
I think we were all nice that week. Oh, sorry.
Well, yeah, that whole Wooly episode, I was just like, okay, well, I don't know why nobody sort of called him on it, but okay, we'll just let it go, let bygones be bygones.
Yeah.
I've been told I got to stop calling people on that shit. Just let it go. So yeah.
Well, I got on him in the beginning, if you remember, and then I got a couple guys who was like, "Yo, man, just calm down a little bit," and I was like, "All right." So I started drinking, and after that, I was like, man. So yeah, I'm never doing that again.
All right, so what are you drinking now?
For local green apple.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, that sounds interesting. Green apple, that's kind of foo-foo in a way if you think about it. But
Well, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Nothing about Four Loco is foo-foo. That stuff will lay you out.
green apple. Oh my god, green
Well,
apple.
no,
That's just like,
all of them have flavors now. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't all.
they don't
They
do
don't just
plain?
come in. Yeah, they all come in flavors. Yeah.
The dangerous thing is if it tastes too smooth and goes down too easy, you end up getting
Yes,
way
sir.
too bobbed, way too quick.
Right.
Oh wow. Okay.
Because green apple goes down real smooth.
Oh my god. Oh, okay. Well, all right. So let's go ahead and get started.
So
since this is
welcome to the first and last show of.
Oh, shit. Hey, speaking of that, I'm going to go ahead and take my first shot of the night since we're going to go ahead and start our first topic ever. So let's go ahead and take our first shot. I don't know how well this is going to last or how long this is going to last, but we're going to find out. This is an experiment going in progress, so we'll see. All right. So first thing this week was, well, just happened today, was the release of, or the pre-orders went live for the Spider-Man 2 Collector's Edition, PlayStation 5, the controller, and the panels. ironically enough, I thought the controller would be the first thing to sell out, but apparently the panels were in short supply because they went gone. They were gone in like a matter of seconds, no matter when they went
I know
live,
a
whether
few
it was
guys
on PlayStation.
that wanted some too. They were really, really hyped for that.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense to me because I was like, okay, well, it was, it is a panel. So before we get started, hold on, let me go ahead and add this illustrious gentleman to our stream.
Oh,
Okay, our panelist finally coming in from his show, the
Buenos
pre-show to my
dias,
show
buenos dias.
is
Oh, shoot! It's locked. It's locked.
it's our panel.
You
This
know what?
panelist, our
At this
panelist
point, I'd
here.
be disappointed if you didn't call me that.
No, the existence of this panelist goes to show that there are aliens on the planet Earth. Loke, how are you doing and what are you drinking?
I am drinking water. That's what I'm
What
drinking.
the hell? What are you drinking? You drinking dino piss? What the hell, man? Come on.
Hey, man, it tastes good. All right.
Oh my
I'm
God,
not
what
even-
the hell?
I agree with
Dino
you.
piss is delicious.
Dino piss,
Dino
that's
piss is
nasty.
delicious.
I agree.
Jim Ryan sent me some.
Oh,
Ooh,
No,
that was nice of him.
that wasn't dino piss that you're drinking. That's some other piss, but not dino piss.
Hey, man, at least Jim's sending me something. What was last time he even acknowledged?
that's it. Yeah.
Are you normally
Okay.
liquids?
So is it filtered at least? I mean, just
The piss station.
Oh
filter.
shit!
Yep.
Is what filtered?
The water.
is Jim Ryan's is it filtered? I mean,
Reconstituted. It's special.
Wow.
In its own
That
bottle,
joke
you know,
did
and
not
had
hit
a
as
little
hard as
sticker
I
on
thought
it.
it would. Did it? But
And before we get started with the first topic,
Yeah,
let me go
that's
ahead and
not awkward
acknowledge the
at
people
all.
that are in the chat. RPG88, thank you for showing up. Back from the dead one, my man, thank you for showing up. And we will, if panel
back from the dead's here.
Yep.
What's up, fellas?
And if you guys in the chat have any questions for the panel, please put it up, and I will go ahead and make sure we answer it. I mean, any question that's worth relevance, of course. I mean, any stupid questions, that's only reserved for me to ask those stupid questions.
Yeah, back. We know what stupid question you're going to ask, and the answer is no. Okay, I'm just throwing that out there right now.
It's good.
What's the question?
You got to
Oh, he'll know. He knows. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. That's all that matters.
All right.
All right. So what we were saying before Luke walked in was this whole the collector's edition for the Spider-Man console and the controller and the panels went live this morning, and the panels sort of went quick. So the first question I have regarding all of this, and I do want to go to Mr. Bushido on this one. Do you think the panels were sold out because there was just that much more demand for them, or was it because you think they just made a fewer amount of those? Bushido. All right. So why is Bushido on mute?
Yeah.
Why I'm on mute? Why is Bushido muted himself? I don't know. Oh yeah.
Who knows?
All right, so let me go ahead and go to Loke. Loke, what do you think? Do you think it was just because of the demand, or do you think it was because they just cut a few?
It's
lesser
Spider-Man.
amount?
It's Spider-Man. That's why.
Really? Come on,
Yep.
now why did the controller and the console sell out?
I'm
Look,
serious. It's
if you have a
Spider-Man.
choice,
It's one of the most-
if you have a choice of buying a whole console or getting the plates for your existing console, which one are you going to do?
Yeah, it's not like they're $249 consoles anymore. It's not like it's
Yeah.
special edition $250. Sure, I'll get another console like a N64 or a Super Nintendo where it's easy to do.
Wait, which one sold out? The console or the plates?
No,
The
plate.
The plate sold out.
Yeah, the plate sold out because that's the
Oh,
cheapest. And everybody already has a PS5. Why wouldn't they want to take the white ones?
Yeah,
off and
just
awesome black ones on the side to make it look cool.
also it's Spider-Man. The most
Also, it's Spider-Man, yeah.
recognizable IPs. Not just superhero IPs, just IPs in general.
Yeah.
One of the most recognizable on the face of the planet.
If they were going to make a console that looked really cool, Wise, you should throw that picture I sent you on Twitter that of there was a concept they did for the Miles Morales console that somebody had come up with back when that came out in 2020. And in
Let me
my opinion,
see.
that was amazing looking. And I think
Yeah.
that would have been worth extra money. This is okay. And like you said, it does have Spider-Man on it. That's great. But it just, I don't know. I've seen so many better designs. It's okay. But
Yeah.
but it does look cool. It is Spider-Man. Yeah, that sold out. And the plates.
I'm
of
curious
course,
about the
those-
fascination with Spider-Man specifically. Like Batman, I get,
well, Spider-Man and
billionaire,
Batman are like
philanthropist, all
Batman and
types of
Spider-Man are
stuff.
basically the same. Yeah, that's the one I said I would buy a console if it looked like that, especially
Oh
with the
yeah,
red lights
that
and everything.
is
That's amazing. I would be like,
that's
yes,
monstrous.
yes, I would buy that. And that was just a concept. Nobody ever made it, and I said, man, that's too bad because it would be amazing to have that.
Yeah, would have been
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, I think that PlayStation is sort of kind of guilty of riding on the coattails of their successful IPs because yeah, I bought the controller, but the controller was okay. Kind of. There's like a little bit of red on the edge, and I bought it mainly because my younger is a big Spider-Man fan. I really wasn't interested in the plates because, to be honest with you, my white plates, I think they're fine. I mean, as it is, my console is behind my TV. My wife doesn't let me display it, so it's no point in me even buying plates to show off something.
Boy, you must have a really big TV to be hiding that thing.
I
I
know.
Oh
mean,
yeah.
That thing is gigantic, though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Are we're still talking about the TV, right?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah,
I
I'll just
see.
put it out there.
Y'all are
Yeah, but I
messy.
mean, like, if you look at the God of War controller, that was kind of pathetic as well. I mean, if you looked at the God of War, it was just like,
It was
Yeah,
just
that was
is-
bad.
Yeah.
So
And then
I'm
there's
like,
fan-made ones that are just so much better.
Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
the
mean, like,
original Sony controller just
If you know who Pope
terrible.
is on Twitter, he does designs that are just freaking amazing looking, and
Yep.
he's made tons and tons of controllers for all the systems, and his stuff is great.
Take that off the screen, Wise. What are you doing?
I mean, look at it. I mean, there's nothing there. I mean,
I
like,
might just go blind.
That looks like
What?
that looks like vinyl applications or something somebody just tossed on it. It's just
Bro.
yeah, it's not nice.
it's something that my 13-year-old could have come up with. I mean, I swear
Yeah,
to you, God,
it's
there's
pretty
nothing
boring.
If your
there.
13-year-old was half blind,
He is
Ow!
half. He is,
Ow! Oh,
he
dear
is.
God!
What are you trying to say? He is half blind. What are you trying to say? I'm just
Oh.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
oh shit. My bad.
Yeah.
So Bushido was asking,
I
what did you think? What did you think of the whole Spider-Man console thing? Did you have any even thoughts on it, or did you know about it?
Who
Me?
you asking?
Bushido,
Yeah.
is he
Bushido
there?
Is Bushido? Can we hear you? We can't hear you. I don't know what's going on with Bushido.
Oh, I
you know?
tried. I heard him talking. I figured I could catch him, but I didn't. He disappeared again.
I don't know what's going on here with Bushido. But okay, did anyone buy any of this stuff? Whether it's the controller, the console, the plates, if you were lucky to get it in. I mean, did anyone here actually buy any of this?
Not me.
No.
No. What about you, Loke? Did
Uh,
you acquire
Quickly, I just want to say, and I'm not saying this because Wise told me to say it. I'm sure no one's gonna believe me, but whatever. First off, I want to say thank you to Wise because Wise last month, I think, or the month before, sent me a $50 voucher to get Diablo. I am very grateful.
Aw.
I'm grateful that he sent it, but I'm also grateful that I didn't have the time to go and buy Diablo because my God, what a horrible experience people are having right now.
As I'm 30 days in, yeah, it's awful. Absolutely awful.
What
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
this? This is new to me. What do you mean? What are you talking about here?
The whole season 1, season 2, whatever thing is that they're doing, nerfing characters, and even if you finish the seasons, right? The currency that you get for the season is 600 platinum, I think, or 600 whatever.
Well,
And the cheapest
666. There's a thing, because it's
Sure.
666. Their whole focus on the
pun.
game has been 666. Yeah.
It's a cute pun, But the other side to that is the cheapest thing in the seasonal shop is
Yeah.
800.
Yeah.
Oh wow, really?
So
You're kidding?
Yeah. Nope.
so
It's a
there's
really bad look. It's a really bad look.
And here
yeah.
Wise was
So
trying to pin me into playing that game.
I did not know about
oh
this. I
damn.
swear to you guys.
Now you want to
It
talk
seems like it.
Bushido.
It's
Well,
so
you guys
big,
want
looks like
you
it.
guys wanted to know where I'm getting all my money from. So I mean, I wanted to make a disclosure here. I don't know. I'm kind of under an NDA, but let me go ahead and put it out there. I actually work for Blizzard. I'm
Oh Lord.
Oh, well, thank God. I told
I
him just
believe
sold
that
drugs
shit.
on the side.
If that were the case, I would be. You're probably one of the reasons for some of the lawsuits. But you know,
some. What the hell?
Get him.
You take
Get
those
the
words back.
man.
Not some. All of the lawsuits. All of the lawsuits
Oh
are
my
thanks to me.
goodness.
Thank you.
And he's still married. No,
and
that's
he's
what you
still
call a
married.
ride or
That's right.
die.
Hey man, when you got
Hey.
ecstasy, she'll stay.
Hey, and when you got a bankroll
Oh,
like mine, you know, it's kind of hard to say no. You know what I'm saying?
She's
like,
slinging
I
ecstasy on the side, and it has its perks.
Yeah, she wants to leave me, but then she looks at my bank account. She's like, "Ah, shit, I
For
can't."
some reason, she has a sip of that champagne. All of a sudden, she wants you all over again.
She's like, "I could
Wow.
tolerate it for one more month, I guess."
Wow.
Right,
But
so
like
nobody-
Braxton asked me about the controller thing.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan.
Yeah.
I like Spider-Man. I am gonna get the game. I do like Spider-Man, but I don't love him like everyone else does. But no, I wasn't interested in the controller or the plates. The controller looks okay. The plates I don't like at all. They look. I don't know who they contract out to when it comes to doing these things. But I always wonder to myself, why don't they use Pope?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
He comes up with some fantastic designs,
Oh yeah.
and people clamor for them on a regular basis. I bought some of his controls. I have
Yeah, people pay.
I think I have four or
geez.
5 of them, and I love them.
Oh yeah.
So I don't understand why they don't use him, but I don't know how it works. So
Did you see the Scorn controller he made?
I love that Scorn controller he made.
Well, and it was of all the things he made. You know, he's done concepts before, but that's a physical, actual controller that was
Right.
like molded, amazing. It's amazing looking. And yeah, it's a lot of people are like they didn't want to touch it because it looks nasty, and it kind of does. But it's such a great job. It's such.
But
an
that's the
amazing
point.
job.
Yeah.
Exactly. And yeah, seeing something like that and then seeing this, it's to me it's lackluster. It could be far better. And I even showed Wise, and he showed the picture earlier of somebody's concept. It wasn't even Pope; it was somebody else, and it was amazing for a Spider-Man one. And they just I don't know, they just don't put the effort in. It's especially for what is it? The system is that no $5.99? I guess that's a regular price. It just I don't know, man. Like they just don't care.
I mean, you look at like what I mean. I'm not trying to go off on a tangent here, but like if you look at what Xbox is offering in some of their CE controllers versus what PlayStation is offering, there's really no comparison. I mean, if you look at, for example, the Horizon, not the Horizon, but the not the Horizon. There was no.
Bro,
freaking
no one
Horizon.
wants to look at Horizon.
The Star.
Yeah,
No
well,
one wants that.
No, the what's that? Forza Horizon controller. That was really nice. The clear yellow controller.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
then of course you look at Starfield's controller and headset. It looked phenomenal. You know, I'm just wondering like why. I mean, it seems to me, I don't know, from an outsider's perspective looking in, it just seems that PlayStation's like, you know what? We don't have to do a lot with God of War or Spider-Man. We can just plaster a little logo, and everyone's going to buy it in spades. And I mean, to a certain extent, they're right,
that's the school. That's the school of Nintendo. You know, they know they have customers that'll buy whatever shit they throw out there. So,
well,
Yeah.
shit, I'm guilty as
That's
charged. I mean,
Well,
but yeah,
look at them remastering things all over again. To get away from this tangent, we'll go back, but remastering things that are only what a year, 2 or 3 years old, and they're going to remaster.
yeah.
It's like double dipping. It's like are they Lucasfilm from years ago that we were going to make special editions of everything, and we're going to make you buy it all over again, and it's exactly the same game? And no, that's just ridiculous.
well, Back from the Dead made up a point. He just said that Pope Art even said that on Twitter that a lot of his designs, his the ones that he just was playing around with, he said that it wouldn't work on an actual controller. So that little image that you sent me, I don't know if it's a heating issue. Maybe that's why they have to keep it a little bit more simple or
It's
whatever.
on the outside of the thing. It's not like it's on the inside.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
It's just yeah. But as far as Pope's trying to be nice, I think the vast majority of his controller designs, it's aesthetic. All it is aesthetic.
Right.
So it's not going to affect anything. He's a good guy. I love Pope. And he's
So
just
do I.
trying to give an excuse to be like, hey, that's our decision. And he's a good guy.
You gotta leave the door open, because if he throws too
Right.
much shade,
Oh,
then he's
exactly.
really never gonna get a chance.
No. And he's diplomatic. He's a good guy. So I appreciate it. But I'm going to stick up for him and say, no, they're stupid. They should all use his stuff because he's the best. Just my opinion.
Yeah.
That's a fact. That's a fact. He's a really nice guy too. We've had him in spaces a couple times and had some really nice conversations with him.
I first met him playing Halo, and he just shot me in the face a lot. I'm serious.
Yeah.
And then I find out later. Oh, that's Pope. Okay, cool. Because I know his Xbox name is different. So
I actually have a collection of LE controllers, both PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, and I actually bought his Cyberpunk Xbox controller.
Yeah, that's a nice controller.
Yeah. His concept, his first concept for it was this. It was a chrome yellow system and controller, and God, I wish he'd made that. That was an incredible looking one. That was my favorite.
I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a badass looking controller he made. But yeah, I mean it's a concept, and it's not impossible, but it would have been expensive. I would have expected it would have been like another $100 just for the system and controller because of what they would had to have done to make it. But it was amazing.
They were expensive, but they're worth it to me.
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah, his controllers are pretty badass, man.
But let me ask this question. Let's say, for example, they did make a limited edition console akin to the one I just showed a picture of earlier, and they upcharged it $100. Do you think that would affect the sales of that console?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
$5.99 is a lot of money. $6.99 for something. If it was all aesthetics and there was nothing, maybe the game with it.
And remember, in Canada, you'd be pushing 1,000. So at that point.
Yeah, that's
not just Canada, with currency exchanges, a lot of other places you'd probably be pushing those type of numbers as well. So, yeah.
And think about
I don't even want to know how much it would cost me on this side, because I paid $1,000 for the Series X, the base Series X. I paid $1,000 for the PS5 as well, the base model. So I don't even want to know how much that shit would cost.
Well, I mean, but if you look at who's buying this or who they're sort of catering to, are they actually catering this console to first-time PlayStation buyers? Or are they actually catering this to repeated buyers, people who actually buy the CE stuff? And I would argue to say that if it's a collector, I don't think an extra $100 either way would affect that individual. And I really think for the majority of people, that's who is really buying this stuff. So, I mean, if you got,
I'm going to send you pictures that I got. You got to see them.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I wish they would put more. I mean, long story short, I wish they would just do more with their collector's edition stuff. And yeah, I mean, I think the last time I actually liked anything PlayStation released that was a collector's edition was that the PS4 Pro, which was like the 500 million, or what was that, like 50 million unit seller, or it was like a clear blue console and a clear blue controller. It was like dark blue and it was like really hard to come by. Do y'all remember that one from the PS4 Pro days?
I don't remember that one. I remember Spider-Man one, of course, but
yeah, the red one. That was fire.
Yeah, that was cool.
Oh, that was good. Full red, and then just the spider on it. That
was bad. Well,
yeah, that was nice. That was sleek. Yeah, that was.
I got the Gears of War 4 one that was the ice one where it has.
Oh yeah, that was nice too.
With the ice broken, and that was probably one of the coolest consoles I think Xbox ever made as far as a special. And when you turn it on, it had a special sound, kind of like the Starfield headphones do. So it's pretty cool.
I had my favorite collector's edition console that I've ever owned was the Star Wars 360, which it looked like an R2D2, and the controller that came with it was mimicking C3PO. Was solid, like it was like gold plated or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And every time you press that button, it would make that R2D2 sound on boot up. And
Oh yeah, that was badass.
yeah, that was my
I-
favorite by far. I think that they peaked on that one. I can't
you can
find
see
another
it.
console. And to this day, I still have that console. I mean, my kids were trying to sell it.
God. Oh, that is
Oh.
sexy, man.
Oh my God, what is that? That's the.
That's Pope's first
Wow.
design for Cyberpunk. I
Oh, you're
sent it to
kidding
you.
me.
And the
No, I sent
Series
it to
X.
you. You need to pull it up because that was the one I wanted. I said, dude, you got to make it with a blue light and the blue. It's just incredible. I was like, God, I would own that. There's 3 concepts that he made at the same time. So there's one that's gold, there's one with black and yellow, and there's one with white, and they're freaking all awesome. It just shows. I mean, the other 2 are subtle, but they're just so well made. The designs are just badass.
Oh, let me show the gold. This is the gold one.
Oh my
This is the gold
goodness.
one.
Yeah.
And let me show the other 2 while I'm at it.
You should put up a parental guidance before you put up pornography, dude.
Sorry.
Trying to get us blocked.
This
Video
is this is hey,
Well, like
all
the-
porn is good porn. That's what I believe. Anyhow,
the circuit design on the side, the circuit design on it is just so badass. On the controller too, it just
Yeah,
such
this
a
one's nice
sweet-looking
as well.
design. And then the white one is like subtle, but it's also awesome. It would any one of those would be amazing to have.
I
That's
agree.
the
I like the black
That's-
the most though.
yeah.
Oh, the black and
I
yellow.
like the gold one.
Yeah.
The gold one's amazing to me.
Oh, the gold one is
Yeah.
too. Yeah. If I did get it, it would be just for the
Just to
console.
have. Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying just for the console. I didn't like the controller that much. It's not bad. But that black and red, that black and gold or whatever,
Oh, that's badass.
that's
yeah.
gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh no,
And the
it's just the
controller?
designs are so killer.
Yeah.
Okay,
look at
yeah.
the
the
And-
con-
Anyway,
The-
all right.
the console that I was referring to when the PS4 Pro era was the Days of Play one. It was like a navy bluish console. It was like, it wasn't totally transparent. It was like semi-transparent. It was blue, but if you got really close to it, you could see the internals of it. Same thing with the controller. Same thing with the headphones that they released at that time. I think that was their best collector's edition console that I've seen for PlayStation at least. So yeah, thanks back. So, all right. Anybody else on this topic? Anybody have anything to
Yes.
chime in?
Quick tangent.
Go ahead.
I will not be getting Spider-Man at launch.
Why?
Metal
Okay.
Gear Solid comes out 3 days
Oh.
right after.
Oh,
So
but that's the Metal Gear
Yeah.
Solid collection, isn't it?
yeah.
That's the one that's coming
And-
out. But
and
that's the new. But you played all those games.
and
And
I'm
the
waiting for your
Spider-Man-
point.
And the Spider-Man,
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 is a new game. It's a new story and everything.
I'll tell you what, I am since Starfield's coming out in about a month, I'm not buying anything else before that. At least nothing brand new. Unless there's a
No,
really good
what?
sale.
Wise, I need you to focus. They're remaking Metal Gear Solid, right?
Yes, sir.
And they're doing it in the correct chronological order and updating everything while also staying faithful to the originals. This is literally, and I mean this from my heart, this is literally everything I've always said I wanted,
Oh yeah.
and it's happening. And you're telling me to buy Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's not flying, buddy.
I gotta say the only Metal Gear Solid the only Metal Gear I've been able to play is 5. I think it's 5. Because it's the only one on Xbox. So I want to get it too because I want to play the older games.
Bro, you are in for a treat.
I'm hoping
And,
they add some accessibility issues. That they've updated some of that stuff. But
I mean, no
The-
cap.
but
Yeah,
I
they
but
can
I but I hope
improve.
that anytime they remaster or remake a game, that's high up on my list. I want to be able to play it.
They're going to improve quality of life stuff, but they didn't specify exactly what. One of the main
Right.
things that they did confirm was the whole aiming thing is going to get fixed.
Oh, good. That's a big one right there. That's
Yeah,
Let
where
me
you have
remind
to
you
like
guys.
stop
Let me
moving
remind you guys. This
to
is still
aim.
Konami, though. This is still Konami, so we don't know. I mean,
Wise, Wise.
know.
I know. Listen, Wise. I live in 2023. I know it's not a good idea, but I don't care. I'm pre-ordering this game. I haven't seen one proper trailer. They just showed us that alligator thing and then just the close up on
Of his face.
Snake's
Yeah, that's
face.
all they should. Yeah.
Maybe nothing has changed, bro. I don't care.
He's
I'm
hoping.
going to buy. And full disclosure, this is a double-edged sword. One, I can't afford to buy both Spider-Man and Metal Gear. But even and this is the second side to it, and I'm saying it because I know you, Wise. I know you now. Even if I were to be gifted Spider-Man, I'm not.
Oh, he's dropping
paying
hints now, Wise. He's dropping hints now. Yeah.
No, I'm dropping warning. I'm dropping warnings. Like, dude, don't even bother. My focus. My focus is Metal Gear Solid. That is it. Don't even bother. That's all. Now we can move on to the next topic.
All right.
All right.
all.
So, well, maybe by Christmas he'll be done with everything. So that would be a good gift for me to get him for Christmas, I guess. That will be something.
I'll probably have
Spider-Man.
bought Spider-Man by then, but okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I really
Yeah,
do
remember
appreciate it.
Forza comes out
Seriously.
around then too. So yeah, you're gonna.
And aren't your fighters coming out around that time? Like
Yeah, Mortal
Agreed.
Kombat.
Yep.
Mortal Kombat's coming around at that time as
And there's
well.
rumors that Tekken might come out in December. Lord.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Oh, good.
Really? Jeez, what?
It's just a rumor. Let's see
They
what
haven't put a
happens.
date out yet. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
it's looking like it might be. Yeah.
Well, speaking
Please.
of rumors, that's a good fucking transition right there.
Segue. Nice
Speaking
segue.
of rumors, and let
You're
me go ahead
welcome.
and since next
welcome,
topic.
Wise.
So there we go. So speaking of rumors, Capcom the other came out and said that there is a game that has been so far unannounced. This comes from Bloomberg. I know you can't read it, but it is Takashiki Masasuki. I am so sorry about your name. I know I totally butchered it, but he said that Capcom said that they're coming out with a game, and it's either coming out late this year or early next year. Developed by their developers called Sword Cane Studio. Never heard of them. They have like 22 employees. And they said that it's when they release it, they are expecting to sell millions by March of the fiscal year. So my question to this is, number one, what do you think this game is that's going to sell millions according to Capcom? And number two, since this is all speculation, what would you like it to be? So let me go to Praxis first.
Sword Cane, I guess they were recently acquired and worked on Street Fighter 6. That's what I read. So they've actually already been working on some stuff for them. So they're part of the development team for Street Fighter 6. I'm sure they weren't the main, but they were involved. So we know that they are capable of doing good things. I'm not sure what else they've done. I've done a little research and I haven't been able to find too much. But if they're talking about a million seller right away, I mean, the two that immediately pop up are Resident Evil and Monster Hunter. Those are the ones that sell the best. And my feeling, it's more likely something Monster Hunter related. And I'm not 100% sure. I know their teams, their legacy teams probably want to be in charge of that. So I'm not sure about a new studio heading it up. It seems a little strange, and them touting that it's going to be a huge selling game. I wouldn't think it's going to be something that hasn't been tried in a long time. Like a lot of people, I'm sure, are hoping that Dino Crisis is something in the works, and they've been hoping for that for years, which I understand. But I would say it's probably something like Monster Hunter related.
Does anyone know on the panel here that who's making that game internally for Capcom? The one that's coming out for Xbox. They showed it on the Xbox showcase. It looked like Onimusha, but it really wasn't. It was like
Oh
this
yeah.
Japanese
I
samurai.
forgot the name of that one.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember. I know what game you're talking about though.
Yeah.
I just saw it today too. As a matter of fact, it was on someone else's news feed for gaming news, and he used that as one of his background. Um, you know, so I forgot the name of the studio. Wow.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it can't be that game, right? Because that game's already been announced. So this is an unannounced game.
Konami Path of the Goddess. That's that one.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to look and see. I'll do a little more research. I'll let you know.
Well, I mean, we're talking about okay. Let's look at PlayStation. I mean, let's look at Capcom's back catalog. I mean, of course you got your Resident Evil and your Monster Hunter, which are also always million sellers, but you also got, of course, people have been hankering for a new Dino Crisis. People are hankering for a new Onimusha, but I believe that it won't be a new Onimusha because of the fact that they got this game that is sort of like a spiritual successor, maybe, to Onimusha. And Exoprimal seems like their spiritual successor to Dino Crisis, even though they're not really the same type of game.
Yeah.
So what else could it be if it's not one of the other two, like Resident Evil or what is it, Monster Hunter?
Well, couldn't it be one of their fighters or some kind of?
No, they just dropped it.
Yeah, but what if they were going back and remastering all the old fighters into a package,
Nah. When you look at it like this, right? Because I try to look at the few of us talk, Umbra and
my thing is they're hyping it up so much that they're going to sell that much, so it's got to be a
Right.
pre-existing thing. So
But
it's not going to be.
You got to look at sales history, right? Like Onimusha is a good game, a great game even, but it never really sells well.
That's
So it wouldn't be considered that one. You look at Dino Crisis would be great, but for them to sound so confident in it, it sounds like something that they have already done work for. And like, I'm with Wise with it too. I'm not too sure about them putting their another team on Monster Hunter, but I don't know what goes on in the inside either. But the only ones I could think of was Monster Hunter, maybe Code Veronica, and that was really it. I would love to see a Dino Crisis though. I would love to see another. I would love to see Dino Crisis redone and brought back to life. But I don't know. I'm not really for them to talk the way they're talking. It's going to sell millions. That sounds like something that they've already
that they have faith in.
And they have faith in it. Yeah.
Game. Yeah.
So it's the only ones I could think of. Look, the first one, Monster Hunter World, sold 20 million units. Yeah. I was one of those 20 million and played the death out of it. Yeah.
But wouldn't something like that require something like that require a bigger development team? Because according to this tweet, they only have 22 animators on there.
Well, that's why I'm wondering if they are not joining the team or if they're helming it completely with just 22 people. I'm not sure.
I don't know. Oh, on a tangent, I wanted to bring up that console I was talking about, the 500 million. This is RP. RP sent it to me via Twitter. This is the one. This has a little gold PlayStation logo. It was a PlayStation 4 Pro, and even though it looks like it's navy here, if you go up close to it, it's actually a see-through. You can actually see the electronics of it. So, yeah, that was my favorite one for PlayStation. But anyhow, sorry, keep going. All right, so let me get to you, Loke. What about you? What do you think this game is? And Pipe Dreams being what they are, what do you hope it is?
Don't care. Pass. I'm not good with Capcom. I'm serious. I'm not good with Capcom. I've bought.
Oh, come on, Street Fighter 6. Come on. You being a
I already have Street Fighter 6.
It feels too emotional.
Street Fighter 5 was terrible.
Capcom. Why don't you like Capcom games?
It's not that I don't like them. I bought so many Resident Evil games.
Oh.
I don't like them. They don't like me. We don't mesh for some reason. I don't know what it's about. I bought like all the Revelation games. I bought all of them. I got Biohazard. I got Village. I don't like the Capcom games. Just
Wow.
skip me, please.
I got you.
All right.
And I've put effort into trying to like them. Just like the From Software games, I never liked the Dark Souls games, but I bought all of them, Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. And then finally with Elden Ring, it worked. And then I went back to Dark Souls 3 and finally beat the first boss. But
Go.
on average, me and Capcom, we don't mix.
All right. Nelson came out and said Capcom is the best third-party publisher. So eat that, Loke.
Nope. Sounds like an agree to disagree there.
Nope.
All right.
What up, Nelson?
Okay. Speaking of panelists that are fashionably late, Triple, how are you doing? And what are you drinking?
I'm actually I just rushed in. Like I said, something came up, so I'm just all over the place right now. So, well, I'm here. Hi, hello. I should get some water because I was sweating really bad.
No, come on. You're drinking dinosaur piss as well?
No.
Or did Jim Ryan send you a vial of his piss as well? Like they did.
You're just jealous.
Okay,
Wise.
what did I
just
walk into? Because
It's a pre-existing condition he has. Just don't worry about it.
I'm just taking an inventory of what people are drinking tonight. And Loke said that Jim Ryan sent him a vial of his piss and he's drinking that. So I don't know. I mean,
I don't know.
Is that exactly what he said?
No.
Well, paraphrasing it a
Let
little
me
bit here
disappear and go grab some
Sure.
bottle of water.
I thought
That's
that's
what
what
helped.
I mean, I'm paraphrasing it here a
That's
little
a
bit.
wise extrapolation of the facts.
Just go with it, Triple.
Jesus.
Just go with it.
Okay. I am
Sausage,
drinking
trust me,
oxygen.
bro.
This guy dealing ecstasy on the side. Just don't take anything so seriously, for fuck's sake. God.
All right, Loke. Okay, so back from the dead, Loke has something to say to you. Would you like Capcom if Sony bought them?
You don't like Capcom?
That
guys
is
think
the
you got
comment
jokes?
for the
Good
next.
Y'all think you got jokes?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a legitimate question. We want to know your
Yeah.
what you like.
You want me to answer the question?
Yes, answer the question. That's what we want to know.
He's like, I would try harder. I would at least try harder.
Is that your African accent? Dude, that is
Yes,
bad.
it is.
That is horrible. You should be embarrassed of yourself. Find a hole. Dig a hole and just get in there, bro. Don't come out again. But as for back from the dead's question, I don't care, dude. I really don't care. I'm here for the games. It's why I'm getting Metal Gear Solid, the remake. That's why I'm getting it on Xbox, because I don't care who owns what. I just want to play good games. That's it.
Okay, back from the dead, we have to establish the fact that Loke is strictly Konami. Okay, he's been Konami since the pachinko days. So,
Oh, no. If that's true, man, I'm gonna have to.
You picked the wrong, like, Japanese developer. That's the wrong one.
Yeah.
It's similar. It's not the. It's not the wrong.
They're
It's
saying,
not the same
well,
thing.
I'm trying to. Well, I know Capcom had their moments where everybody's like, Capcom, you're kind of. What you doing? What you doing right now?
Dude, it's Capcom, Konami, and Namco. People always mix them up.
RPG 88 is like Nelson's got his shit kickers on. I think that was back Oh, that's good. That's classic. We gotta mark that. We gotta timestamp that one. So. All right, Triple. So let me go to you on since you just joined us. Capcom, rumor is that they're going to be releasing a game or announcing a game in the foreseeable future, and they're planning that they're expecting that it's going to sell millions by March. And the developer is 22 people. Well, 22 animators. That's what we know so far. So maybe there are more people in the actual development house. So question one is, what do you think this game is? And question two, if you had a pipe dream, what would it be?
Shoot. And you said they're selling millions of copies. The only thing that comes to mind really is like a new Resident Evil game or a sequel to Monster Hunter World, which did very well for them considering how the IP wasn't the hottest until it hit the major consoles. So that's my two guesses. And obviously what I would like for it to be would be Monster Hunter World 2 or Monster Hunter Universe, whatever they would call it. That's what I would like to see because World was phenomenal. It was amazing. So
Yeah.
I would like to see a new one.
Yes, that's what we said.
Cerebral, what about you? Anything on this one?
Nope.
Don't care. Just same like look. Don't give a damn about Capcom. Strictly Konami.
Pretty much. Yep.
That's my guy. That's why I like Cerebral.
I like my
I fuck
pachinko
with
games.
Cerebral. There we
That's not
go.
what you said last time, bro.
no.
That's what she said.
We consume our games
I still
2
remember being
cents at a
betrayed.
time. You heard me? 2 cents at a time.
All right. Well, yeah, I really believe that, just like you guys, I do believe that it's either some sort of another older Resident Evil remake or something of that nature, maybe Code Veronica, or maybe a new Monster Hunter game. But I'm not really leaning towards Monster Hunter because, I mean, I don't know. They just said there was 22 animators. Now maybe there's more people working in that development house, but I would reckon that Monster Hunter has become one of their bigger cash cows, and I would presume that they would have more than 22 developers developing a new Monster Hunter.
Well, they would have to,
No,
since
yeah.
just the what is it, the Iceborne expansion alone for Monster Hunter World took 300 plus people.
Yeah.
Just for the expansion. Not including the main game, which was more. There were more people.
Raved about that one.
Oh yeah.
Iceborne was so good. I'm about to go load it up on my PS4, play it all 30 FPS.
Oh my god. Yeah. No shit. Jump on to see if anybody needs a hand. That's what I usually do.
Hey,
Yeah.
RPG, I agree with you. Kojima is better than Konami. But
I mean,
if we're talking Capcom, Konami is better than Capcom. Done.
I would say in the past, but lately,
Live inside another universe.
lately,
Capcom's been knocking out of the park for a
yeah.
long time.
Now
When's the
that
last
Exo
time
Primal,
that-
though, I will
When's
say,
the last time that Konami made a good game?
I mean, they're trying
Guys,
back into
Their
it.
pachinkos are to
I'm
die
a-
for. I think their pachinkos are 100 or a million
Stop
sellers.
saying,
bro.
every time you say pachinko, I just get a flashback of that Metal Gear Solid trailer. Where it turned out to be a pachinko machine. And I'm just like,
Fellas,
y'all are just.
fellas, I don't mind everyone disagreeing with me. I'm a Raiders fan. I'm
Oh,
cool.
shit.
Poor guy.
Wow, then you're used to people disagreeing with you, and
And
you
he's
get
used
it
to
wrong
being a
all the
part of
time.
and he's used to being a part of the losing team, I guess, huh? So
Yes, that's not a problem. You cannot hurt me. I am dead already.
Dead inside. Is that what it is? I knew it.
Yeah, I gotta
What
find
is
that
dead
Raiders fan,
can never die.
and I feel bad for him every year.
we don't
Yeah.
die, we don't die, we multiply like babies.
I don't know how somebody who lives in Texas could be a Raiders fan, though. That just confuses the hell out of me. But
Wait, who here lives in Texas?
Well, when your only other fucking option is the Cowboys, what other choice do you have in the matter?
no, you have the even worse team,
The
the
Texans?
Texans.
Texans.
No.
Yeah.
We don't
No.
speak. We don't. No, you go to Texas, you don't name that. That is a name that goes unmentioned. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah.
Texans for the Texans. No.
Hey, who in here lives in Texas anyway?
No, just
No
giving
I
low
live near
problem.
Texas. That's all I gotta say.
Well, you
Guys,
just-
You're
Find out.
supposed to keep it going. When you ask the question,
No.
just keep the joke going.
At some point, it stops being funny. Seriously,
You
there's
got-
people
you
now
gotta
going
throw
on
it in.
TSWS Gaming, literally asking, like, yo, this
At some
guy's a very good actor. That's a very nice accent. And I'm
Not
like,
now.
bro, this is my accent. This is how I talk. And it's like, yo, this guy is he should do voiceovers. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? So,
Just
no.
amazing. I don't know how he does it all the time.
hey, all I want to see is one day you bust out into Hakuna Matata. That's all I got to say.
Oh, okay.
Well,
All right.
Or
Next
Circle of
subject.
Life, one of the two. Next time, then we gotta
Oh,
save
no.
that. for- We gotta save something for the Patreon.
Because that's what Africans sing. Seriously.
yeah.
Circle of life.
Or you
We
can actually
barely speak English on the continent. Now we
Okay.
sing Circle of Life.
just give us a teaser. Do Wakanda forever.
Oh, stop it.
Come on, Wakanda forever.
That works.
How's
What
this?
my purpose is take his camera to the
How's
door
this,
so I can
Wise?
see if there's any lions out there.
Wise, is this good enough for you? You good? Huh?
Oh shit! Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
enough for me.
Hey, look, how come I don't hear those birds anymore either?
What birds, dude? That was Cozy. Cozy's the one who has
No.
birds.
Cozy's the one with birds. Cozy's the one with birds.
It was clearly locked because of the surroundings he lives in, and he had the window open. And so I figured that was
What
some kind of
window?
tropical bird.
What you think? You think he lives in a hut like Tarzan over there? What the hell?
Nobody said that. I just said that, I just figured that he was bird was. So
I mean,
No,
I
I don't keep birds. I don't have
one
a pet
sound like a
lion.
toucan, and
I
another
don't have a
one.
pet elephant.
you don't have a
how
pet
it
elephant
works.
named Babar? I thought you had a pet elephant named Babar.
Oh, Lord.
He's like, no, Wise, I don't know. Why he said it's not. I would not say that was funny, even in my Wise.
Wow, Bushido, that accent.
Isn't
Disgusting.
that isn't it?
Let me just
Fuck.
go ahead and put it out there. If you're looking for Queens, you don't go to Queens, New York. Just put it out there. You don't go to Queens looking
Yo.
for Queens.
Bushido, that is nasty, bro. Do not quit your day job. All right.
I think it's pretty good. I don't know.
Oh.
I've been working on it before I got to the show, and
Oh.
I think it's pretty good.
You sound like you're from Istanbul, actually. Less Africa, less more like Istanbul. Yeah. Back from the dead woke up and chose violence this morning because he said Cowboys don't have a team; it's a cheerleader squad. So.
Oh,
I love watching them fail.
The gauntlet is still
All right. Anybody else have anything to say about this Cowboys topic before we move on?
Fuck the Cowboys.
All right. Okay. So our next topic, and I really hate talking about this topic, but unfortunately, I think we sort of have to. Hopefully, we are on the final legs of this topic, is the whole ABK situation.
No, we're not on the final legs.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Oh, let's just hope so. Let's just hope. So since I've been gone, obviously, since I've been gone, the FTC went through and approved or whatever the greenlit the merger or whatever, and
They lost their case. They didn't greenlight
about to
shit.
say, yeah,
Why?
What you talking about?
And they had to go
This
through
is
with it.
embarrassing.
Oh, man.
Well, I think the topic I want to really talk about is not about ABK specifically as much as now that the dust is sort of settling with all this, and we sort of know that this thing is, for all instances and purposes, is pretty much going to go through. Where do we go from here, both from an Xbox perspective and a PlayStation perspective? Facts are facts. Xbox has been playing catch up and been playing third place in the past couple of generations. And now that this deal is pretty much going to go through, for those of you who are sort of Xbox centric, what do you think Microsoft needs to do to regain that momentum that they sort of lost and since the announcement of Series X? Well, like I mean, I know you got Starfield coming out, but like you got like I don't know how many developers underneath their wing. So from an Xbox perspective, what do y'all want to see Microsoft do to sort of take all of these development houses and use that to leverage their console to maybe potentially be where Sony is and
You're answering
maybe
the
Nintendo
question.
is? Yeah.
You already
And-
answered.
Wait, I want to know, why does Luck always get to go first?
I didn't go first. I was just
No,
criticizing the question.
you jumped in, and then no one got the chance to say anything.
I need you to stop with that accent, Bushido.
and yeah, so let me go ahead and go to you, Bushido. Since let's go ahead and go to you first, Bushido. Like, what do you want to see now that you have all of this in the bank, or if you will? What do you think Xbox needs to do, and what would you like to see as a gamer Xbox do to pivot their current position in the gaming market?
I didn't really have anything to say. I just want to interrupt Lope when he was talking. But I would like to see, and I know this is what Lope would say. I'm gonna give you a Lope answer. I just want to see him make good games. There's nothing particular I want to see them do.
Apparently, Loki disagrees with that. But go ahead, keep going.
I just want them to make. Wait, let me start with the action. I want them to stop.
I got to get shot.
I want them to start making good games that everyone likes. And look, I know they're going to make different types of games. I would like for them to have the studios have the freedom to make the kind of games. But for me, though, I would like for them to make some third person over the shoulder games. That's really about it. I'm real simple. Sci-fi, some samurai stuff, especially that. I would love to understand why the Japanese or no studios like to touch games like that when those games sell really well and people are clamoring for them. I'd like to see another Tenchu game, something like that. So yeah, stuff like that,
Okay. But here's the thing: you were talking about like you want them to start making good games and stuff like that. What will this merger allow them to do that they weren't able to or couldn't do or wouldn't be able to have done without it?
Be able to turn out content more frequently, but because these studios are already working on games, and this is even before the ABK thing came to light, that those studios were taken off of COD and starting other games development. And I don't know how long they've been working on those games, but with that being the case, it'll give them a chance to have a variety of different types of games and not the same. You know how when you have a studio and they have a certain feel about their games, like Ubisoft. Until I saw them do the Star Wars game, I always figured, Ubisoft games all looked the same and played the same and had the same feel. Sort of like that. I don't, you want your studios to, or games that you turn out to have a different feel to them and not feel the same. And that's one of the things that I think that'll help. It'll give you a variety of games. And that's what's going to be the biggest thing they're going to need for Game Pass, especially during the years that other studios are on and off of development time of making a game.
What do you not want to see happen because of this merger?
I don't want to see those studios go back into just doing COD again. I want them to stick with the premise that they decided with having COD being bi-yearly. And I know that's a loss of revenue, but those studios are very talented, and I would like to see them. And also, to see they're not going to be as dependent on COD as Activision was. They're going to be looking for more content. And in that instance, I think that having those extra studios will help content, but I don't want to see them all back on just COD again and working on just that one thing. Having 5 studios.
I don't think that's going to happen because I think part of that change was with discussions with Microsoft.
Yeah, but that's
the deal going through. So I don't think it's going to go back to I don't think they're going to revert to that system.
Well, that they were going to distance themselves away from doing yearly COD releases too. They were going to at least separate them by year 2, or maybe even 3. I don't know how many years, but a couple of years between each, maybe, just to make sure.
Yeah, the last I saw or heard was by year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, RPG88 says he wants to see them improve the quality of their first-party titles. Do you think this is just going to be a natural manifestation of having so many developers, so every developer sort of has that cushion and space to sort of be able to develop the game at the time that they need to develop it and not being rushed? Bushido?
Oh, I'm sorry. I think you asked somebody else. I think so. Yeah, I was thinking the same. That was the other thing I was looking at when I thought about that, was that with these studio working on something, it'll give you a chance for a certain cadence of games. And with that cadence of games, it gives other studios a chance to be able to give them more time. Like, hey, I need a little more time for this game, and I need a little more time for that game for the other studio. I think you get that inside this instance because of the fact that you have so many studios just underneath Activision, working on different projects. And then once one project drops, you have one of the other studios hopefully ready to drop something the next 3 months. and it gives time for a game to be able to sit and cook properly and not come out a buggy mess, or even just development period and story and concept of the game. You don't get that rush of like shareholders. Games get pushed out a lot of times because of shareholders, and they want to see return on their dividends. And they're like, look, you said 5 years, now 6 years. Why am I waiting 6 years for a return on my dividends? You don't have to worry about that inside this instance. So I think that you'll get exactly that. I think you'll get more games. Those studios won't be working on just a couple of one game with 5 studios working on it to get it out every year.
Okay, cool. Praxis, I want to go to you next. I mean, I know you are predominantly a PC-centric gamer, and my question to you is this. What do you think? Like, normally we would normally think that consolidation of corporations is not necessarily a good thing. And for somebody who is platform agnostic, what is your biggest fear now that this merger is pretty much going to go through?
As far well, that they lose focus with the number of studios that they have. Hopefully, I mean, from what I've gathered, they've got so many heads of, different departments. They're gonna take care of their respective games. But I mean, I guess with so many under their belt, I mean, they could have some issues coming up for like stagnation as far as game development. That they focus on, like the concern is focusing on too few games with the number of properties that Activision, older properties they can go to or potentially go to, that they should be looking at potentially bringing back up. And I mean, there's a couple of people have mentioned, and I mentioned, I know that the rights have lapsed and getting it might be a pain in the ass, but War for Cybertron, like the old Transformers games, coming up with an amazing sequel to that. That's a property I think is incredible and was an incredible game. And Vicarious Visions is now what is it? They are called, I'm trying to see what it's called. Blizzard Albany, and they helped work on Diablo 4. So I know they're still in the mix, and giving them something like that would be incredible. So we can see they're a very talented team. They actually did Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 remaster as well, and they made the original games. So they're a good team, and it'd be incredible to see. But yeah, as far as my biggest fear is also Microsoft themselves taking it and starting to, I don't know, to do things that are anti-consumer, which they haven't been doing. But I mean, if they get too big for the britches, they could do things like that.
So do you believe that this is just going to be a manifestation of having so many people under their belt that they will allow some of these smaller development houses within their stable now to develop games that they really want to develop versus games that they were sort of forced to develop under Bobby Kotick and Activision?
I think honestly, that's the positive side. I think, yes, I see them as giving a lot more like freedom to a lot of their teams to try different things. I mean, with all they want to see games coming out that hit every single genre they can, and they want to bring games that everybody wants, and having studios work on things they've been wanting to work on. But they do have to be careful not to get too ambitious and let them try for a whole bunch of things that just aren't going to work. So that's another key.
Okay, Paul, I want to go to you next. I know that you play on all consoles, but you're predominantly Xbox. Now that this thing is pretty much going to go through, from an Xbox perspective, what is your biggest fear now that this is like 100% a thing?
Well, what they need to do is they need to get their already, Matt Booty and whoever, they're already dealing with the studios they have, and that seems to be a lot of work. They need to get their organization settled so that they can deal with all these different studios. Because, like Phil said, the Redfall fell under the thing because nobody was keeping an eye on it. They need to start, more of a hands-on thing, which means they need to get their organization settled, like I just said. So I think that the biggest thing is if they don't do that, you'll have more of the same. And they should be better than that. Now that they know this deal is going to go through, hopefully they're focused on, okay, let's look at the organizational side. How's this going to break down? You know, because the whole thing with all these studios is so they have content for Game Pass. We know that.
Mhm.
You know, but in order to do that, you've got to keep on the studios. Don't shadow them too much. You know, give them a little bit of freedom, but also keep them on task. You know, don't micromanage them, but at the same time, don't totally let them slip out from under you either. You know,
See, what's confusing to me as a just from a from an outside perspective is that the relationship that they sort of make, right? Like for example, with all of the developers that PlayStation buys, they control everything about those developers. They go in, they're pretty hands-on. Xbox is weird in the sense that there are certain developers that they are more hands-on with, and then there's like, for example, Bethesda, where they sort of say, okay, well, you sort of do your own thing, and then like a certain games in them, then they might be more hands-on. Like, for example, let's go ahead and I hate to bring this up again, but you talk about Redfall, the excuse that was given why it was poorly received was because they said that Microsoft's official stance was that they were a little bit more hands-off, whereas with Starfield, they're more hands-on. So my question is that what would you rather Xbox do with this ABK? Make it keep them.
well, here's the thing. When they say they're more hands-on with Starfield, I don't think it's that Microsoft themselves are more. I think they know that they can trust Todd to do his job. You know, they know Todd's not going to turn out shit.
Okay.
You know, except for the multiplayer side, but that's another story.
But like, so what do you think? So do you believe, from just an outsider's perspective? Obviously, we don't know the internal workings here, but would you rather have the ABK, well, Activision Blizzard, be more what Xbox would call hands-on, or would you rather them sort of do with ABK what they were doing with?
No, they need to be hands-on. They've given all the stuff that ABK's been through the last 5 years. They need to be hands-on.
Okay.
They have to go in there and they need to clean house. 2, they need to see where everybody's at. They need to make sure everybody, you know, they also have to look at morale and stuff like that. Because remember, the people that work for ABK, you know, they have been through a hell of a lot, you know, the last few years. First thing they got to do is get rid of Kotick, give him his golden parachute, and push him out of the plane.
Exactly.
You know,
just give him a brick of gold. Don't.
Yeah.
Just give him a brick of gold. Push him out the plane.
But and it's not just going to be him. There's going to be some restructuring going on, I'm sure, and you know they're gonna have to sit down and some of this has already been taking place. I'm sure that they've already started to look at the studios, what they're working on, what projects they're going to keep, which projects they're going to toss, you know, things like that. So hopefully, like I said, they need to. Matt Booty can't oversee all that shit by himself. They need to give him, or they need to break his job out maybe a little bit. You know, put some people under him that they trust who can say, okay, what's going on with this set of studios? Give each person like 5 or 6 studios to keep an eye on. That way, that's all they have to worry about. They don't have to worry about all 36 of them. You know.
Right. Is it 36 developers now under
No, I don't think it's. I don't know that it's 36. I know it's pushing 30 though. I do know that.
Yeah, easily pushing 30. I mean, I think COD developers are what, 5 developers for COD, isn't it?
Right.
They have a lot of studios and support studios.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because they were at, well, even before ABK, they were at 20 something, weren't they? 24 or some god awful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean they were like at 23 already, right? Before ABK, and with ABK,
right.
It's going to be easily over 30, as you said earlier.
And then because you're also looking at the side that, you know, from a video game standpoint, we don't really talk about the mobile side, the king, you know.
Right.
You know, you think ABK, most people think COD or World of Warcraft or StarCraft and those titles, you know.
Right.
I do hope to see more StarCraft. I would love to see StarCraft come to console. Please,
StarCraft 3 or StarCraft. Even if they just remade StarCraft 2 and put it on consoles, that would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, good. All right, Triple, let me go to you. are you what is your biggest concern about now that this thing is going to go through? Let me go ahead and say my biggest fear is I don't want them. I know that Game Pass needs content. What I'm afraid of is now that they have this big subsidiary with King, they're going to start pushing all these mobile games into Game Pass, and that will, I mean, I don't know, that would rub me the wrong way, but I'll just leave.
Why? That's not gonna. If you don't want to play them, don't play them. I mean,
yeah, but it's the optics of it, right? Like they'll say, okay, we got like 600 games on Game Pass, but 300 of that crap is just stuff that you would never.
No, well, that's probably not. That's not going to happen. But
that would be wild. Plus, I mean, the most I could probably see is like you're on your Xbox dashboard and like, hey, Game Pass subscriber, here's your benefits of the month or something, and X amount of in-game currency for Candy Crush. I don't know how Candy Crush works or something like that.
Perks. They call them perks.
Yeah, so perks for X mobile game, but hosting it on the Game Pass. I mean, they did make a mobile section exactly like Cerebral was saying. Just don't click on it as long as it's not flooded with this like trash. Regardless,
and they probably are going to put Game Pass on mobile. I mean, they're probably going to have a mobile version for hey, you want to play all these games?
It's already on. I mean, you already can use Game Pass on mobile.
But I mean, they're probably going to they'll
for mobile games.
Yeah,
I got you.
Well, so Triple, what is your biggest fear going into now that this thing is sort of like letting the dust settle? What is your biggest fear going forward with all this?
I guess biggest fear, like just in general,
not having anything to talk about on a podcast. No,
that too. It's just it's just like with all the other acquisitions, like don't get lazy. Like you acquired them, but make sure you're doing a proper job just to make sure the projects are getting through as smoothly as possible and make sure the games are as polished as possible. And as we saw, as you say, Redfall is a 1K scenario, and Starfield is probably being treated differently, but I don't want to hear another story where it's like, oh yeah, Microsoft didn't really do much, and here's the burning fire of a game for you guys to play. Like, I don't want to hear that story. But with any studio in business, that's a possibility. So, but just general, don't be lazy with it. Probably not the best choice of words, but just do what you can to make sure the titles that are coming out are polished as possible. And that's pretty much it. I haven't really been big into Activision games as of late, with only recently getting into Cold War Black Ops Zombies because it was free on PlayStation. That's probably the last time I spent a significant amount of time with the Activision game. So, but that's pretty much it. And in terms of what I would like to see, kind of just the same thing. Is just produce good games. You are acquiring all these studios, and we know how things were in the Xbox One generation with the lack of first party developers. Now that you have a whole bunch under your wing, it's like, okay, great, you got them. Just make sure they're putting out stellar content that we want to play, and not games, as people like to say, Game Pass fodder. Not, I personally always say, like, you get terrible games before Game Pass, but you don't want to feed that argument that people have. So congrats, you got COD. Just make sure your next Halo is good, because you're like, we got Call of Duty. We don't need to worry about Halo being good. Like, no, you need to make sure that's good. Same with Gears of War. That's another heavy multiplayer game that they have, and just don't let that fall to crap because you got one of the biggest.
Here's the thing: I don't buy into the Game Pass fodder thing because I mean, because I mean, things like Pentiment came out of nowhere, and it's a totally different style of game. But some of us spent many hours playing that game.
I'm just saying,
and it was a great game. And it wouldn't have made it, and it wouldn't. And I'm just saying, it wouldn't have made it so. It wouldn't have done as well as a standalone game because nobody would have looked at it.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is, like, you don't want to put out poor games because it can feed that argument. And I've always, like I said, I've never liked that argument to begin with, because I'm just like a lot of issues surrounding Game Pass. People like, we're getting bad games. They're like, shit, it's like bad games never existed before Game Pass. But point being, let the service with bad games, because you got a lot of studios under you just to fill the service up. So, but exactly that, as well as like it would be awesome to see franchises we probably wouldn't have gotten from ABK if they were still their own business. So there's a lot of possibilities, and whether they'll keep things the same because they're like, COD is making so much money, why would you change it? But they decide to go a different route and actually let them develop what they want to a certain extent, of course, and really just get more out of the studios, and everyone's not a COD support studio. That would be awesome to see, but just keep the quality up. That's the main thing I would like to see.
We already know some of those studios have been pulled. We know they're working on a Star Wars game that they're lucky to have.
I will say this, since I'm late into the scene, but man, it makes me wonder just a little bit when it comes to the Overwatch and how that had their PVE specific components of the PVE scrapped. And I'm just like, man, imagine what things be differently if Microsoft had them at the time. Since I believe people were saying the main focus for the main reason it was scrapped because they didn't really see a proper returns on it. So it's like you just scrap it and focus on the PvP side of things. So can't help but be curious.
Overwatch was a screw up anyway because when they did Overwatch 2, it wasn't really a new game. It was more the same. It was Overwatch Redux. It wasn't. There was nothing.
1.2.
Yeah,
components with the skill trees and upgraded characters and stuff was the main part that made it a proper sequel, and that was scrapped. So yeah, I finally get into Overwatch, and it was like bad news. I was like, I don't want to play no more.
Yeah.
Well, do you think that now, like Activision is the king of gotcha gaming? You know, like for example, with their currencies and the loot boxes and stuff like that. Do you think that now that they're under Microsoft's table, we will see less of those little gotcha mechanics, or do you think that it's going to be status quo?
I mean, Halo Infinite has their own stores. They got rid of the loot boxes, so I don't know. Like you can look at the IP that Microsoft owns and see how things play. I can't say if they're egregious or not, but whether we'll see less of them or if they'll stay the same, I can't really say. It still is a company making money. So
well, wasn't Activision famous for like I don't know which COD it was, but it was a couple of years ago, or 3 or 4 years ago, where they had a in-game purchase where you can buy the reticule, which was like a dot, and they charged like $10 for the dot or something like that. Wasn't that Activision?
So. I remember seeing something about charging for a red dot site that was a ridiculous amount of cash. But again, I look at Halo and the type of prices they charge for some of their skins and stuff, and I think they had to do like a sweep on the store at one point to adjust the prices.
Yeah, you want to see crazy? Buy some of the planes for Flight Simulator. Holy crap!
Well,
like $20 for one model. You know, it's like no.
Nelson said Diablo proved Activision is the undisputed champion of gotcha games.
Yeah.
Are we talking about Immortal or 4? I don't know too much on 4's monetary.
Both.
Okay, it's bad in 4 as well. As I just picked it up like last week.
Well, remember because Diablo 2 or Diablo 2 or 3, one of them had an in-game currency stuff that they removed after all the backlash and stuff.
Yeah, it was 3. It was 3. I remember hearing about that. It was 3. Yeah. So, and I know Immortal people were we all know the story about Immortal. It's just some early April Fool joke.
Well, what's wrong with Immortal? Don't you guys have phones? I'm just.
All right, so you can find me at. Exactly. So I don't know. It's going to be a while before we see proper change, but I hope there's some actual change because I do ask the question like, okay, now that you got them, what aside from the games going to Game Pass, like what else are we seeing the benefit? So we can point to Obsidian and In Exile and how the extra funding has really helped them out. And you're acquiring something that's already huge and able to run pretty well on its own. Like what changes can we see? So hopefully there's some meaningful changes aside from the next COD and Game Pass, which I appreciate because I don't have to drop 70 for a campaign only. But that aside.
Well, RPG88 brings up a good point. You know, speaking of gotcha mechanics, horse armor. Yeah, Bethesda was
early
classic.
Days. Yeah.
What was that? That was Skyrim?
That was Oblivion.
That was Oblivion. Yeah, they had that horse armor. It was like one armor that was like gold plated, and you had to pay like what $5 for that crap or something.
I don't know the prices. I just remember always hearing about horse armor. Never looked into how much things were.
Yep.
I am guilty of buying that little bastard.
Yeah.
Of course you did.
Exactly. So I think I don't know how bad it is, but I know at one point Call of Duty was, if it wasn't pay to win when they were heavy on loot boxes and buying, they had like season or update weapons that were added to the game that are like broken
maps. And back on the 360, you had to pay for each individual map, and it was like, oh my god, it was stupid.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm thinking because I like I said, I dropped Call of Duty. Like Black Ops was the last one I had invested a lot of time into. The first Black Ops, And then the newer ones, like on the PS4, Xbox One generation, I remember reading about a gun that was introduced on an update, and they're like, "Bro, this is busted. You gotta buy it." Exactly, pay to win. So, but newer ones here aren't that bad. But like I said, I haven't played the newer ones, so.
Okay, so let me actually now go to you, Loke, because you are like you do play Xbox, but you do have I think you're more in Sony's camp. So in this regard,
I'm grinding Valkyria Chronicles right now on the PS5.
Did you stream it yet? Are you streaming?
No, I still haven't figured that one out.
Mark, why do you still have a tie on?
So
I undid it, bro. Relax.
Yeah, but it's still on though.
Okay, you know what? I want to see a $50 super chat, and I'll take off the tie. Fuck.
Don't do that. What type of show are we turning this into? It's gonna start with
$100, and I'll take.
I'll give you a 50. I'll give you a 50-cent super chat.
Listen. What I would love to see, really more than you taking that tie off, is I would love to see you go back there and play that baby grand piano back there and play me a nice little tune. But I'll wait to the end of the show. I'll wait to the end of the show.
I wish
Hey,
it was like this.
you could do Circle of Life. You know, there you go. You could do.
Hey, this plays some Snake Eater on there, man. You know.
Snake Eater. Yeah, I'd love to hear some Snake Eater.
Get behind that. Yep.
Well, okay. Look, so let me bring this up. Let me ask you this question: as somebody from the looking for this from a PlayStation perspective, Activision, as Nelson said in the chat, has over 10K people working for them. And as it is, PlayStation, the biggest point PlayStation, I don't want to say fanboys, but just PlayStation-centric individuals say that Microsoft is already struggling trying to micromanage all of this, and now they're going to be inheriting 10K more employees. Let me correct myself. Not Microsoft, but Xbox is having a hard time sort of micromanaging all of this. What is your biggest fear once this deal once the ink dries on this deal?
My biggest fear is that they'll try to become Sony.
Oh dear God, no! That should be everybody's biggest fear.
No shit. No. What do you mean? Can you elaborate,
one of my hot takes is that I didn't think Xbox was doing badly until I registered my Twitter account. I was perfectly fine.
I get you. I get what you're saying. So was I.
Yeah.
So was I.
That's exactly why I went in and bought Twitter Blue, because I wanted to help Xbox out.
Yeah. I didn't know it was a problem, or they had a problem until
Twitter told you they had a problem. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So essentially, to answer your question, my biggest fear is that they'll stop being who they are and end up just saturating the market with the same stuff. Like Nintendo is special because only they do what they do. I don't want to live in a world where there's 5 Nintendos or 2 Nintendos. And Sony is fine as they are. I hope they continue doing what they do. Xbox, with this acquisition, just needs to continue doing what they usually do, which is focus on making multiplayer first-person games and keep the good times rolling with Game Pass. Don't try and become Sony and come up with these super heavy narrative games and all that.
Third person.
Well, you guys, you say okay. Let me bring up this point here.
Yeah,
I have a feeling on the inside, and this is just my personal opinion. I don't believe the new Call of Duties are going day and date into Game Pass. I believe that they're going to charge. What do you believe on that?
Okay.
And what do you think?
They're going day and date. You know why? Because a couple of years ago, Xbox specifically, either they go day and date into Game Pass or Game Pass will stop existing. Those are the only two realities that exist, because Xbox clearly stated all first-party games, all of them. They didn't say some, they didn't say most. They said all first-party games are going straight to Game Pass. They have not broken that promise ever since they said that. So the only way they're going to charge is if magically tomorrow they announce that, yeah, Game Pass is a thing of the past. It was good while it lasted. Everyone now needs to start paying again the way they used to. That's the only way it's going to Game Pass. So I would be shocked if they started charging for day one on Call of Duty.
Shit, y'all already up the price.
And I would say, even if they did tweak that a little bit, at least the multiplayer aspect of Call of Duty would be day and date, and probably not even in Game Pass. It'll probably be outside of the paywall, like they do with their other multiplayer stuff. So
the same way I
but what I'm saying is the multiplayer side may be outside the game, outside of the paywall, outside of Game Pass.
Yeah.
Like free.
It'll be
Are you talking about like
Apex.
free for play or something like that?
Right.
Like Halo Infinite?
It'll be like Apex, yeah. I think that'll be it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Like the newer CODs, their multiplayer is still tied to Warzone, that's excluded or free to play. Correct?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
So I see that continuing to be a thing.
Well, you guys say this, but I really believe that I think what they're going to do is, as much as you say that they're not going to be like Sony, but I do think that all corporations look at their competitors and what they're doing, right? So I think what's going to happen is Microsoft is going to look at this and they're going to say, you know what, playing the older CODs are fine for somebody who has like base level Game Pass. Then I think they're going to maybe even stratiate, or what's the word I'm looking for? Stratify Game Pass, where you have like an elite status Game Pass, and then you have regular Game Pass or something like that.
Got that. It's console and
they already have it, bro.
I feel I wouldn't be surprised if they're thinking to themselves like, "Damn, we shouldn't have made that promise."
Yeah, no, but I think that's what's going to happen.
They messed up. Because again, Wise, going back to the original point, it's right there in print. They said it years ago, and they've held themselves to that standard ever since then. Yeah. Every single.
But this is a corporation. Corporations have never lied to you before.
Well, my honest thought is, as long as Phil is in charge, you're not going to see a move like that. Anything that changes like that will be after Phil leaves.
That makes sense.
Actually, plus, I disagree with that. As long as Xbox is not first.
No, that is
fair. Good point. That's a very good point.
Things change based off. But why? So let me ask, like, wouldn't they want more ways to like say, like, hey, you could drop 70 on PlayStation, or you can come play it in Game Pass.
Well, that's exactly what they're doing.
Well, RPG 88 is bringing up a good point. Like, for example, Starfield, you could pay $40 and play that game. Like,
definitely.
Right. You still have the option to buy the game. Yeah, you'll still have the option to buy the game, but to have it inside the Game Pass is an extra element of people buy on Game Pass.
By the way, let me clarify what he just said about that. The $40 you're paying on Starfield is in addition to what you're getting on Game Pass. That is not the full edition of Starfield. The $40 is bringing you up to the prime the prime edition. These gives you the season pass and all that crap. Yeah, if you wanted to pay for the full version, the same
early access,
in the early access, the same full version of Starfield was going to cost you $99. So, same thing they did with Forza last year, and the same thing they're going to do with Forza again this year. In fact,
I think that's exactly what they would still do. You can still purchase it, but at the same time, the better deal is to get it through Game Pass, and if you want this extra stuff in it, it'll cost you a little bit more.
Yep.
Well, how competitive.
Thanks to FOMO, they know most of us are going to pay.
Yeah. Yep.
We don't want to.
I'll pay that $35. I'll pay that $35 to bring it up to a full.
All day.
I'm not paying for early access.
Especially if you know you want it.
Bushido, we heard about how you've been dreaming about Starfield for the longest, so I'm not surprised.
No, me too. Me.
I know, dude. Triple has seen that almost every week. I posted, I want Starfield. Where's Starfield? I don't want to play any of the games except Starfield. Starfield this and Starfield that all week for the last few weeks.
Triple,
Oh,
don't blame just Bushido. I took a week off from school from teaching because Starfield comes out on the 6th. I'm in school. I took that whole
I'm not
week
blaming
off.
no one.
I
I'm
was
just
a
saying.
week off. I was like, I
I'm
can't.
not surprised
going
that
on
he said I got
vacation.
the early
Why,
access.
you took a week off?
It's like, wait,
Listen. If they had $100 edition for me to play it now, I would actually pay the $100. I wouldn't do that for no other. There's no other game. There's no other game ever that I would do something as silly as that.
I would sell Wise's Left Nut to play that game right now.
I would sell his right one. I would sell his right one.
Hey, I don't have
You
a
know, I would
nut.
sell his right one.
The only
Something
nut I have
else.
is the
Now
right
he's
one.
got no nuts.
What?
Why is now?
I want to clarify. I don't have a left nut. I only have a right nut. All my nuts are right. So
Well,
there you go.
Bushido said he would sell that one. So
Yeah, so that was going already, buddy.
Well, that's fine because my wife doesn't want it anymore. Might as well
Why?
sell it.
That's what I
The
said.
nutless gamer.
Might as well give it
I
to
like
somebody who
it.
could use it.
You know,
The
It's
He
nutless
said
useful.
so I
gamer.
can use it.
hey,
That name
this
is
is
sticking wise.
this is completely random wise, but it's been bugging me this whole show. Your logo is like blocking whoever's in the top right corner.
Oh, it's just me. Don't
Okay.
worry about it.
Whoever it is, it's not important. You know, they all the person on the top of the
That's Darth, man. Don't be like that.
Like, it's been bugging me. I don't know why I didn't say anything earlier. I just kept looking at it. I was like,
I need to say
Yeah,
something.
that-
Behind rather than
because-
seen. Thank you.
This is why your lazy ass needs to be here at 6:15.
look. I had to be fair, I had all in purpose to I had the message typed up, I did hit send, and then I got back. I was like, oh shit, why is he asking where I'm at? I was like, oh, it never sent. So oh man. I'll tell you more after this show.
I'm guilty of that.
Okay, so I want to bring this up. This just happened today. Those people who are not aware, Final Fantasy 14 is officially coming to Xbox now, and
that was quick.
Correction.
and they went
Correction.
for
Square Enix is now is officially coming to Xbox.
Right.
Xbox, yeah. And they went out on. They actually went out of their way to say we're bringing in Final Fantasy 14, but we're also going to be bringing in every other game that we have as we see fit.
I'm gonna have to be sure to check that quote because I saw someone else mention that, but then another person's like, he said they're gonna make it a goal to do that, so it's not an absolute promise. I gotta find the exact quote, but we'll just go with the possibility right now.
My question is, how much of this is just the repercussions of the ABK deal going through? Like these developers are looking at it, these Japanese developers, they didn't take Xbox seriously. Now that they have this under their belt, they know that COD is going to be a massive driver of people buying this console because there's just people who just strictly play COD. And now they're like, well, maybe we need to start looking at them, taking them seriously. So look, take away. What do you think? Do you think this is a manifestation or this is just a natural situation that's going to would have happened eventually?
Forget COD. Past behavior is an indicator for future results. Every time Phil Spencer gets on a stage, shakes hands with someone and smiles, the shit is going down. If anyone has time, go and check. Unless he was shaking hands with freaking Sean Layden or Reggie Fils-Aimé, everyone else, it now has a tight relationship with Xbox. It's Electronic Arts, Sega, Activision, etc. That smile does not fool me. It's about to happen, guys. Anyone that was parading or that has been parading Final Fantasy VII Remake, oh, exclusive this, exclusive that, you better milk that puppy for all it's worth. Because by this time next year.
Oh, so what are you saying? You're getting both remakes, both part 1 and part 2, do you think? Or you just think part 1 is going to eventually find its way onto it?
Well, I can read the
I'm
quote
saying
actually on it too.
Go ahead.
I'm saying it's
whenever
going,
possible we are planning. I'm sorry. It says whenever possible we're planning to bring our games to Xbox for players around the world to enjoy. So they're going to do their best to keep bringing them. It's like what Triple was saying.
Okay. All right. So, look, what do you think about this? Do you think that this
I
is
was
just
saying I was saying this is the start of something greater. PlayStation better decide what they want to do with Square Enix. Either acquire and make them in-house, or watch them walk out with the dude in a Ferrari. This is going to happen, like it or not. So make a move, PlayStation. Make a freaking move.
Yeah, I mean, what this reminds me of is this about like it's like a situation where you ask this girl out and she looks at you and she looks at the car and she's like, she looks at you and say, okay, no, maybe not, and then you one day see her and you pull up in your Ferrari or Corvette and you're like, hey, you want to reconsider? And she looks at your car and says, maybe I should. That's what it looks like to
Yeah.
me. Yeah. So
I always liked you. I was just so focused on my studies. I always liked you. I'm like, sure, bitch.
Hey, yeah,
Anyway, sorry.
I finished washing my hair. Now we can go out.
Yeah, it's been 6 years, but okay.
Exactly. Took me 6 years to watch all of that. Darth, let me go to you next. What do you think? Do you think this is this sudden announcement by Square Enix out of left field on a Friday, nonetheless, is a manifestation of the ABK deal, or do you think that this is something that would have eventually just happened?
Oh, I think that played a part. Certainly, I think that they're starting to get a lot more respect, I guess. Seeing, especially when they were going up against, different countries, their politicians telling them, with the help of Sony and is their encouragement to try to stop the deal and to try to paint them as the bad guys. And most developers really, besides Sony, were shaking their heads going, what's the big deal here? What is the problem? What are we looking at here that you're all upset about? I mean, there were like less than a handful who even stood against it, and the rest of them were just, I don't even see the issue. And now that it's done, maybe it does have the effect of showing, well, I mean, they've got something on their side, and they've got this motivation and charisma, and Phil has incredible charisma. Who knows what he's been doing behind the scenes to also talk to Square Enix too? Who knows what's been going on to bring that about? And Phil understands the kind of gamers that's going to bring to the table for Xbox, and Xbox fans want these Final Fantasy games too. We all like them. I mean, why wouldn't we want to play them on the Xbox? So I see it as multiple. I see it as this may have helped garner that kind of friendship and that kind of deal going on, or it could have been happening in the background anyway. But yeah, I see it may have had an effect.
Okay. Bashida, let me go to you next. One thing that I keep getting reminded of when I saw this tweet today, was the whole shit show that was Octopath Traveler 2. Remember, Octopath came out on Game Pass day one, and it really is what I think sort of took that game to the successes that it did, because it introduced people who normally would not play a game of that nature to the wider audience, if you will. And Octopath Traveler 2 went out of their way to actually shun Xbox. They came out on PlayStation and Nintendo, and now all of a sudden you see Square Enix doing almost a 180 in this regard and saying, you know what, we're going to start bringing our games whenever possible to you, Xbox. So again, my question to you is just like everybody else: do you think that this is a manifestation of the ABK deal, and do you think that more of these type of situations are going to occur more often, where companies that normally did not take Microsoft as seriously will now start saying, okay, you know what, maybe we need to start developing for this platform?
I think that when I look at it, I look at it from the standpoint of Forspoken and Final Fantasy 16.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look at those sale numbers, 3 million is nice for that market of game. And you look at Octopath, like you said, Octopath, as far as it was going on sales, it was primarily on
playing that JoJo.
Yeah, I'm sorry you have to hear that. My wife keeps calling my phone. But when it comes to when it comes to see, she didn't take no for an answer. She's like, wait, he's not answering. Why isn't he answering? He hung up. Let me see why he hung up. Oh my gosh. So anyway,
Oh my
so
god.
so in this instance, the two when it comes to those games, Octopath going on Game Pass, and not just on the Switch, really opening their people's eyes to like, hey, this is first of all, Octopath is probably my favorite RPG now, JRPG. The game is just fantastic. It has a great engine. It has a great
Art style and everything.
yeah, listen, yeah, the old art. Listen, I love that old art style. But I also love the mechanics that they have in that game. It's very unique as far as the powers are concerned, and how guys get to be stronger and use different abilities, things like that. Um, if it wasn't for Game Pass, I probably would never known that it was that kind of game. And when it came on PlayStation, I bought it. So if it was for Game Pass, the residual effect of me buying it on PlayStation day one wouldn't have been there. I would just be like, oh man, well, I always wanted to play it, or I'll just wait, or I'll just let it sit, and maybe I'll get to it. But it helped propel that game in that instance. But the other thing that kills me with it is Square shunned Xbox. Now, listen, there are Congress is already doing an investigation on PlayStation and their practices in Japan. Japan and the United States are supposed to be united in the way that they handle consumerism. So, with that being the case, the in that instance, they have been getting away with writing deals with other studios saying don't put it on Game Pass, and to skip Xbox altogether.
Mhm.
And so it got back to Congress, and Congress was like, and listen, it's all because of the ABK thing. And Congress is like, hey, why are you guys allowing this? We're supposed to be working together, and we're looking at these practices, and these are things that we wouldn't allow here. So why are you guys allowing that there? And they're like, well, we don't. Wow, we didn't really know. Yeah, you know, you can't tell me you didn't know.
Oh yeah.
And so they have pushed Japan to have to do their own investigation and come back to Congress and like, hey, what's going on? And who knows what kind of penalties they would receive, if whatever their findings were they don't like. I don't know how it works, but in that instance, though, when it comes to, let me stop saying that instance. When it comes to the Japanese studios, I think they're looking and noticing now that we can't skip Xbox for this little bag, because a bigger bag could be waiting for us. And taking the money from PlayStation at first was good, but they're losing a lot more with sales, and also with potential to have the game on Game Pass. And if the game flourishes, they get bonuses and things like that. I mean, I think they're starting to realize that now. So I think now studios are like, look, especially inside their instance of Square. Square probably was like, yo, we lost some money on Forspoken, and we lost some money badly. And the money we got from PlayStation wasn't enough, and we need to come up out of this. And Final Fantasy is usually nice, keeps the lights on and everything, but we need some money. And so they're going to be willing to, if you ask me, they'll be more than willing to talk to Xbox about, hey, we got some OIPs here, but I know they haven't been on Xbox before, but when you want to work something out, I think they're going to be more than willing to do so. Once people or the other studios in Japan will start seeing that, I think that more and more of them have already anyway. But once they start seeing that, they'll start doing the same thing.
Okay. Cerebral, let me go to you next. I know you don't really play a lot of Square Enix games per se, but they didn't say. It's interesting to know what they said versus what they didn't say. They said they're going to bring their games to Xbox, but they didn't say they're necessarily going to be putting them on Game Pass. So again, we can't ignore that because Xbox is Game Pass and Game Pass is Xbox. Do you feel that? What do you think is going to? I mean, do you feel that if they don't put it on Game Pass, they're going to be shooting themselves in the foot, or do you think that the fact that they're just bringing it to Xbox is going to get them the commercial successes that they were looking for?
I think it's a game by game thing. Like Octopath Traveler, like he said, it did well because it was dropped on Game Pass and because people got to have their eyes on it and went, "Oh man, this is really cool." And let me just say, I think part of the reason they quote shunned Xbox might have been Sony in there going, "Look, we got this case in the bag. Don't worry about it." And then as soon as things went the other way, notice that's when they came back to Xbox and said, "Hey, we're gonna put shit on your console."
Exactly. That's exactly how it went.
Yeah. So, do you think that this is just a sign of things to come going forward, thanks to ABK?
Yeah, I do. I think because, like I said, they weren't the only ones that Sony's had, been whispering in their ear, and so I think Sony probably lost a lot of control that they had previously over some of these companies because these companies are now looking at it with a different set of eyes. So I think we're going to see a shift here. Plus, all the stuff that came out made Sony look really bad. I think all of this kind of damaged their reputation within the industry, or at least it brought it out in the open more.
You know what part I agree with you with that, Paul? The fact that since Sony has been using a lot of bullying tactics for years for other studios, seeing now that there's a tilt and there'll be another source of income that you don't have to be so dependent on PlayStation. I think that is exactly what the first thing I thought of when you said that is that they don't have to be so dependent on PlayStation now. And if they don't have to be dependent on PlayStation, they don't have to be bullied into certain types of deals that we've heard, over the last few weeks. As far as like I said, what Congress was talking about, I've been meaning for like the longest to post it on Xbox, not Xbox, excuse me, on Twitter. I said Xbox because on Twitter now has that Xbox symbol, and it just keeps making me say Xbox. It's like, what would we do that for anyway? But that's another conversation. But when I looked at it, I just was like, this is going to really, really put a dent in the way that they were able to just Brody companies, studios, into just doing exactly what they wanted them to do, taking the money that they had to take. And now they'll have a better opportunity now to get more money and to be able to have a real opportunity to say, hey, PlayStation, we're getting offered this at Xbox, or Xbox, we're getting offered this. I don't think they'll be so... they won't lean so much to the PlayStation side or the Japanese mindset of we're only working with us. Look, it's about making money. And I think they're going to start doing that more of that. And plus, there have been a lot of other studios have been doing that, as a matter of fact, too. That have been just making, deciding to just let the games, go on Xbox and go into Game Pass. And then even though they're older games like Dragon Quest or whatever, they're still making money instead of not making any money. So
I was gonna say, remember, they don't go on Game Pass for free. Xbox pays for that.
Absolutely.
Bushido Nelson responded in the chat. He said, "Octopath only 1% made it to the final chapter. Even, do you care to respond regarding
it? It doesn't. It doesn't
matter.
Listen, as far as percentages of who made it to what, the game was still sold. So the game being sold, or the game being bought, or the game being played, on that note, there are eyes that weren't on the game that never got on it. Listen, Japanese games aren't for everybody. They really aren't. Not all Japanese games are for me either. There are a select few that I love, like Scarlet Nexus. Love that game. Absolutely, I would rave about that game. Octopath, another game. But as far as who finished what and who didn't, let's understand one thing about Xbox gamers. Even though you hear the opposite, Xbox gamers play a bunch of different games. and they don't.
I'm one of
sit
those
on-
people. I'm one of those
Yeah,
people. Holy
and they
shit!
have, and they'll have so many games that they're playing. And not just because see what happens with PlayStation players, they like to just play the exclusives, and so since they like to just play the exclusives, they
I
don't
don't know about
necessarily get
that.
a chance to play.
They just play
Uh,
Call of Duty. What are you
guys, I
talking
don't,
about?
I don't.
Yeah, well,
Say,
well,
I
hey,
don't know
look,
about that, bro.
hey, listen, I'm talking fanboys. I'm talking
Hey,
fanboys, but
hey,
at the
guys,
same time,
Red,
they'll strictly
Ratchet
take.
and Clank,
They'll play
1.1
nothing but
billion.
they'll play those games, and just play them over and over again. But Xbox players will play a lot of different games, and if this game don't hit me for now, I'll put it to the side and I'll move on to it later on. Idea. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
1% made it
And the
to there.
final chapter with a JRPG is kind of like that's time and investment that you got to
Yeah,
put into
that,
it.
yes,
that game.
Final
Let me.
chapter
yes,
is full of
Yeah, I'm
grind.
curious,
It's full of
yeah,
grind.
Nelson, if there's stats for like earlier chapters, like what's the earliest achievement you can get, then that'd be, I think, a better discussion. But the final chapter, that's how many hours is that you got to put into it?
Well, let me.
yeah,
I
yep,
played and platinum this game. I actually beat the game, and the game doesn't. Okay, so the game is like 8 individual stories that at the final chapter, all the 8 stories merge together. Now, the actual game takes 70 to 80 hours to finish if you're doing everything, if you're 100%ing it, and then like the final chapter, you have to grind after you've like maxed out like. You can beat the
yes.
story. You have to still grind even further because that final chapter
Ain't nobody
is
trying to
really
do that.
freaking hard. Yeah,
Yo, the
Nobody
final
trying to do that.
chapter. The final chapter is like playing another playthrough of the game because of the fact that, let's say at the end when I finished it at 80, most of my guys were about 80, and I had some guys that were still in the 60s. You have to grind to get them up to at least 80
100.
and get a
No,
couple of
you're
them up to
not.
99 to even stand a chance inside of that. So when you look at numbers don't tell you the whole story
That
of
fucking
what's
main
going on.
boss,
Numbers
that
can be
final,
deceptive.
that final boss was it took me 30 freaking that final boss took me 30 minutes in and of itself, and all my characters were like right at 100.
Yeah,
And I still had my butt handed to me several times. It was my
yeah.
blind luck that I
That was
beat.
not easy. That was not easy. Not even a little
Right.
bit. So
One
yeah, you
not
can't
killing the game,
always
bro.
just throw numbers out and it just be a fact that it is what you think it is. It's a little more to it than what you perceive.
Guys, we are at 7:30. I want to go about since we started a little bit later.
Well, real quick, I just wanted to also throw out when you see the 1% of whatever, 2% of whatever, you don't know what that whatever number is. I mean, if you're
Yeah,
talking about
1%,
500,000 people or whatever,
Yeah.
1% is still quite a bit. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's-
and
And
you're
yeah.
talking about it,
I found a
and you're
lot of
talking
people
about
don't finish games anyway too. That's a weird thing.
Right.
Hardcore gamers are the ones that really finish games.
There's so many games I picked up and played. I actually with the
Yeah.
Square Enix announcement of Final
And let-
14 coming to Xbox, I was like, "When did I buy that on PC and never touch it?" Back in 2021.
Listen, I bought Arkham, or was it Arkham Gotham Knights or whatever, and I played a few minutes of that and was like, I don't feel like playing this right now. It's still going to be in my wheelhouse, but I ain't going to play in it
So
right now.
I'm
now
saying
you're
with
one of those
Hogwarts. I'm
people in
saying
the
with,
statistics that doesn't finish games. See how that works?
well, the good thing about statistics, and this is a mathematician talking, you can make the statistics say what you want it to say. You can
Right.
skew your statistics as any which way you want it to. Guys, are y'all good for going about 10 minutes over, or does anyone have to leave?
I'm fine. I ain't got a life.
Only thing I'm looking forward to is that burger I put in the fridge. I'm just like, man. Even though
One-
I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at that even a little
1.1
bit.
million copies, guys. That is all Ratchet and Clank sold.
on PC.
There's over
Yeah.
100 million people install base on PlayStation.
Well, how about the fact we haven't heard the number for Horizon Forbidden West yet? But yet it was thrown in a bundle, and also it was thrown into PS Plus like immediately. So that's a bad sign there as far as I bought the game myself, but I'm just saying I've noticed the same thing you ever saying, Locke, that a lot of those precious exclusives have not been being bought by the majority of PlayStation players. I'm gonna say this isn't even a fanboy thing. PlayStation players haven't been really buying them this generation. Now, God of War sold fantastically, but all the other ones, I've seen those numbers, and I've just been surprised I don't do the numbers game, but sometimes I'll look at numbers because I'll wonder how come I haven't heard anything about this game or I haven't heard anything about that game, especially since PlayStation loves tout numbers. So I was surprised to see that for the longest, I haven't seen any numbers for it, but everyone that showed the numbers for what's in Britannia, as opposed to what's going on in the United States.
Well, speaking of PlayStation, let me go ahead and bring this. This is a really quick topic, and we can finish up on this one. Well, there's rumors. We heard through the ABK deal that there was a PS5 Pro potentially coming out in 2024.
This is not going to be a quick topic.
I mean, I personally got time.
Let Loke talk first on this one. I want to hear him.
Yeah, well, Loke, who do you want to hear first?
No, I don't want to go first. I don't want to go first.
Where do you want to go first?
No.
You undid your tie. Your vocal cords are open now.
Yeah,
right?
man.
Yeah.
Ready to lay it on us.
What? With that tone? Hell no. Ain't nothing here. Oh fuck.
You need to kick the knowledge on us, man.
Well, let me just summarize this article. They were talking about the powers. I think the main things to take away from this was that the power is they're trying to up the power so that they can run 8K 30 consistently.
Oh dear God.
The box already says 8K.
What's that?
8K capable. It does say it, doesn't it?
It does say 8K.
It does say it.
Why?
No, the box does say. I specifically remember when the consoles were announced, people were like, "Oh my gosh, 8K, suck it, Xbox." I was like, bro, it was that early on when people were clinging to everything.
I remember too. I remember.
I was like, bro, who even got an 8K TV?
Yes.
Like,
just to address that quickly,
I still don't have an
think about the logistics of what that would take. It would be like, oh boy, I get an 8K game that runs at 30 frames per second, maybe. And that's it.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, we sure
that's ridiculous. It's like,
well, if this much
for 4K 60 or 4K 120.
First of all, who's affording the 8K TV in the first place? Especially as not a PlayStation player.
Well, consider the
well, they had to pay for their PSVR too. So
well, they got their grandma to pay for that. Their birthdays came up, and they've been bugging them about that for a while.
You just made me think of the freaking names.
It looks like Nelson wasn't the only one that woke up this morning and chose violence. I can't.
Mr. Darth, you're going on. What's up,
I was just saying, I'm a home theater enthusiast, so I've been into displays. I used to do calibrations for monitors and displays for people's home theaters. So I mean, I've been into like audio, video for a long time. And as far as the reality of what the use is for these things, it's like you got to know where the market's going to be, and what it's going to be worth to people, and really what's selling games right now, or game systems, television. Because I was talking to somebody, they're like, nobody buys a TV for a game system, dude. I bought a brand new TV downstairs and a freaking monitor that I'm actually watching right now as we stream for my Series X. Period. That's why I bought them.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I bought my old bed just for the game.
And if you did it, you know why. You bought it because it has a refresh rate that matches the top performance the system can output. That is what's going to be sacrificed in an 8K system or television immediately, because it'll be too expensive, too costly, and they haven't even developed it yet to run above like 60 frames per second probably on an 8K TV. I think that's as high as they've gone. And so you're years away from them even hitting the 120 mark. And then how many years are we away from an 8K game system running at 120 frames per second? Dude, we're years away. We're decades away. We're a decade away, probably.
Stop, please.
Well,
like,
let me say this though. Like with these games, when these consoles were initially announced, they were promising us 4K 60, right? But what we failed to realize was that it was an either or case. It was either 4K or 60. So maybe with this one,
not necessarily. it's not the hardware that.
Yeah, the hardware is not holding it back. It's the
It's not the
software.
hardware. Yeah, it's more of like this. Like when you make a game, and remember we used to have the interviews with developers and everything. So I kept doing that with other developers and keeping in contact and asking questions. And one of the things I asked was like, what's the issue with that? And he said, it's not the hardware. It's all about memory. And it's all about memory as they make the game. So as big as they want to make the world, and the more things they want to happen in the world, you only have a certain amount of memory because of RAM, and you can only work with that. And so once you get to a certain limit, you're like, all right, well, look, we've got to this, we've done this, we've done that. Now, do we want to sacrifice res for frame rate, or vice versa? And some developing studios decided that, hey, we'll sacrifice the other one for the other. So that's always a studio choice.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, let me go to you next. Since now you're officially not first, what do you think about this? Do you think there's really a need for something of this nature? Because let's be honest, the PlayStation 5 just now has become readily available. And in the past couple of years, thanks to COVID and the bottlenecks that we had with manufacturing, it was hard to come by, even with the Series X as well. So, like, is this too soon? Maybe they should wait a year, or do you even think that do we even need a pro level for this generation of consoles?
So many layers. First off, we don't need more consoles or new consoles, because I don't think we've seen enough games actually stretch or stress these machines. There's too many cross-gen games. There's
Fact.
nothing. There's nothing that has made me sit and think, oh, I'm so glad I spent $1,000 to buy a PlayStation 5 or a Series X. I'm serious. This is like,
Yeah.
maybe we'll see it in 2027, but I feel like I've been
Wow.
fooled.
Whoa.
I feel like I've been
Jeez.
fooled. I'm serious. There's nothing that is breathtaking.
I don't know what the fuck, what the hell, who put pickle juice in your coffee for everybody in the panel this morning?
No,
everyone is like fucking like, what the hell?
I'm not saying I'm not having
Oh man.
I'm not saying I'm not having a good time with games. I'm enjoying the game.
You're just not wowed.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
No, I am
Not
wow,
seeing
dude.
next gen
Elden Ring.
game.
Elden Ring was breathtaking, bro.
Oh yeah.
Preach.
Elden Ring, like it was.
Oh yeah,
insane.
Elden Ring was taking my breath. It took it made me yell and scream and cuss.
Either way, Cerebral were both reaching for an inhaler. Point is, Elden Ring.
Look, the thing
Elden
that you
Ring
put in
was
your
a
mouth
great-
wasn't an inhaler.
I don't know, man. You might be onto something there, man. I didn't have to use an inhaler until I beat Elden Ring. So that's kind of, yeah.
Damn, hey, well done for you, man. I couldn't beat Elden Ring, and I was just like, fuck this, I'm out. Point is,
Yes.
we have gotten great games. I'm not saying we haven't had great games. I'm saying I haven't seen one game that has made me go, this justifies the purchase of console X or console Y. So as far as a mid-gen refresh, they can miss me with that. PlayStation, if they release a mid-gen refresh this year or next year, I'm sure it'll sell like gangbusters. It'll disappear. It will fly. It won't even get on the shelves. All right. I'm not even questioning that. I'm just talking about whether or not it's necessary. In my opinion, it's not.
For the 2 million that they'll make, probably.
Dude, they could make
I'm just
5
looking forward
million.
to
And
the
they'll
PS5
just
Pro costing like $2,000 because the dude on eBay bought like 100 of them or something.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know.
Right, exactly.
Chapter
Yeah.
all over
I hate
again.
that nonsense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Even if they don't scalp it, and they charge us 500 or 600, fuck that noise.
Oh,
Give us
500 to 600.
games.
They're gonna charge more than that, I think. I mean,
Give us
PS5
games.
PS5 is already selling for that price. They're gonna.
Yeah.
This is gonna be way more, at least $100
Yeah.
more expensive.
And it'll still sell like gangbusters.
Yeah,
That's
Over
what
2 years
Well,
before next
is
gen.
very
I said we got
disheartening.
another 3-4
well, I
years.
mean, consider all the people that buy. Like, it's kind of the Apple mindset as far as you know. You got a new phone
Yes.
coming out. I'm going to spend that
Yeah.
same amount of money every single year, even if it's crazy. You're going to have the same kind of people with
Yeah.
Sony buying a PlayStation. I get that too.
I'm sure that's what they had with the Pro and the One X. Like you'll have people that are like, nah, I'm cool with the
But-
base and the One S.
But
and
is
you'll
it?
have people
But is it necessary? I mean, I was one of the people that bought a Xbox One X when it came out.
Me too.
And I got it
Ain't gonna lie.
because it was substantially better than the Xbox. The original Xbox.
I mean, it was the weakest between the two.
That was
between the
bad.
four.
terrible.
It
It was
was
terrible. It had so
yeah,
many
and
problems. You know, Call of Duty Ghost came out and was 720p, and it struggled with the frame rate at 60. Playing the game, it pissed me off. Like, you kidding?
Yeah.
And the PS4 version came out, and it was running 1080p. I'm like, what is going on here? And
No,
when
exactly.
we
Yeah.
found the specs, it was frustrating. It's like, what happened? So when the Xbox One X came out, it actually started doing some amazing things, and it really was the systems that should have come out first. And that's my feeling. I kind of feel the way the Series X a little bit. They initially announced the Series X was going to be, when it was in its development, 4 times more powerful than the Xbox One X. And if that was the case, then it would have been a 24 teraflop system, which would have been equivalent to a 3080 card at the time. But they didn't, and they didn't. I'm pretty sure they scaled it back, and they didn't because they didn't want to charge $1,000 for their system when it came out, because that's what it would have cost. And at least, and they probably would have they would have been hosed on that too, because it wouldn't have been able to make any money on it. So they scaled it back to twice as powerful as the Xbox One X. So yeah, and the mid-gen refresh now, I agree with Loke. I think, honestly, yeah, there are a lot of things they can do to really push these systems, and they haven't. The one thing I've seen that I think it makes worthwhile for me, and it still was buggy as shit, was the Matrix demo that came out for Unreal Engine 5. I thought that was insane. I thought it was insane to see. That was probably the most next gen thing I've seen in years. And
Imagine buying a console for those 5 minutes.
I know. But that's I'm just saying that was the most amazing thing. But it showed the potential of the engine at the very least, and what can be done. And we've still not seen that potential really be utilized on either of the systems. So I'm excited to see what can be done. But yeah, we're not there yet. And releasing a system now to take advantage, of, to basically skip these systems, I don't think it's going to leave these behind, because these are the core systems they're going to have to continue developing for. I'm sure they're going to take advantage of the new system for the PS5 or PS5 Pro,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
they're still going to be pushing these, and that's what I'm hoping for, and I'm sure they will, especially Xbox. Now the question is, are they going to jump in the fray right behind PlayStation like they did last time? There's the big question.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. Like the previous generation, there's a solid case to be had on why we needed the Pro version and the One X, because even early out of the gate, they were like, bro, these consoles just are underpowered in so many different ways. And with the Series X and the PS5, like, yeah, some people say, well, we're not getting a solid 60 in X amount of games, or it's not able to maintain 4K. But that aside, it's like a lot of the games that have been coming out haven't really stressed the hardware to such a way that you would argue a fair point to say, yeah, no, we definitely need something stronger. So the idea of a Pro, like if they put it out, I'm not against it or anything like that, but it's just something where I'm not jumping up and down for one and saying I can definitely see the benefit from it, because even when they say 4K 60, I'm like, as I was alluding to earlier, it's like, please just drop the 4K. Give me like 1440p at 60. I don't care about
exactly.
And if that's what you're really pushing for with the newer consoles, I'm just like, I just don't really see the purpose of it. And the main thing, which I doubt they would do, what's up?
I just want to interject real quick. It almost feels like PlayStation and Xbox have deals with these TV manufacturers where it's like, forget frames per second. Give them 4K, 8K, all these Ks and whatever.
Well, remember,
That's
Sony is one of those fucking manufacturers.
Yeah, Sony makes TVs, or at least they used to. Yeah,
it's cheaper for them to upgrade the TVs for res instead of frames.
Oh hell
Well,
yeah,
that's fair. Even like when the One X, I remember Series X and PS5, I was seeing so many dudes posting, "I got a new TV, y'all, OLED, this, that, the third." I was like, "Yeah, you got to upgrade the TV." But as I was saying earlier, it's like the only real benefit I can see is, which probably wouldn't be until a generation where it's significant of an upgrade, is using features like FSR and DLSS to really do better things that you can do with the hardware. Until this, I'm just like, do we need a pro console? If you're not doing that significant of an improvement to the hardware, I don't really see the point of 4K. I mean, maybe somebody wants to play Starfield at 4K 60, even though it's not coming to PlayStation 5, and maybe that's why they want a Series X2. But even with games like Plague Tale Requiem, which launched at 30 FPS, and people are like, it's the hardware, and then they eventually made a performance update later showing that, yeah, we can get 60 FPS on these consoles still, not at the glorious 4K and probably not all the visuals popping out, but even it's like if you're playing on console, you should kind of expect that when compared to a PC of very high spec and high price. So, but I don't know. There is that person out there that wants to see Aloy in every pore of her body or something like that.
Me, guilty as charged. Me. I want to see every wrinkle and rise.
Simp in the chat.
Hey,
Simp.
it's 20 years of marriage. What can I say? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, but
that girly. Anyway, never mind.
But yeah, it's just it. Yeah, it's. I'm curious if it is true. I am curious on the price and to see how things play out there. Because just to throw myself on the bus slightly, I still haven't 5 yet. So if it's not significantly crazy, maybe. But since I don't have one, I'm coming from nothing. But in terms of just sticking to what we got, and do I think we need it? No. Like, especially if that happens and the standard PS5 drops price even better, I'm just like, bro, if the upgrade ain't really even there, let me snatch that up real quick for like $300 for the current model. Probably wouldn't happen, definitely wouldn't happen. But yeah, it's 600, 700. I'm just like, what are you giving me? Please don't say you can play COD at 8K 60. Like, I don't care. So, and I think the last game I even saw, and I don't have an 8K monitor to even really get the most out of it, was like was Linus Tech Tips did like an 8K of Doom Eternal or something like that, and that was probably the last when I saw someone really try to push for 8K gaming even on the PC platform. Not saying people don't do that now with like 4090s and crap, but this shows where the community as a whole isn't really trying to get 8K. Like, come on now, if you're really getting into heavy competitive, you're going for frames above all else. But seeing how the industry is going, and God Howard saying, I prefer 4K. I don't need that, regardless of what you're playing. I'm just like, okay, yeah, sure. But yeah.
Just tell them, God bless. God bless.
God bless you.
All right. So let's go ahead and go to Loke. You got your last word, so go for it.
My God. Valkyria Elysium, Tales of Arise, Deerfield Chronicles, Sekiro, Tactics Ogre. Those are just some of the games, even Final Fantasy VII Remake, that are 50% or more off on the PlayStation Store. If you have 20 or 30 bucks, I'm serious, just go to the PlayStation Store. It's lit. The hell.
I just want to say I haven't played it yet, but I bought Tales of Arise during like the Christmas sale on Xbox, and I'm just like,
I still haven't played it yet. I have that game.
I played the beta, and
I played a little bit. Yeah,
and I was like, I like it. I still got to break my Destiny addiction before I invest into it.
Midnight Suns. Midnight Suns Ultimate Edition is also 50% off. This is insane.
All right.
Judgment.
This ad brought to you by Sony.
Well, unfortunately, this guy just showed up. Super. Unfortunately, the show is almost over, but since this will be a good transition, tell us where we can find you.
I don't think you can find him yet.
Yeah, I thought you said 6:30 Eastern time.
It was 6:30 Eastern time.
Yeah.
I sent you the link at 6:30. That's when we started.
Shit, my bad. Oh, you know, I'm stupid. I was thinking Western time, East. I mixed up times. My bad, dude.
All right. So tell us where we can
You
find
started drinking before. God damn
You're
it.
supposed to drink on the show, not before the show. That's the point.
I'll tell people they can find me the next time. I'm a nobody right now, so I'm sorry, man.
You somebody elite.
Far
Well,
Cry
we-
6 Gold Edition is $25.
Oh God.
I don't need to. I bought like a lot of Far
Jesus.
Cry games on Steam randomly, and I
God.
still haven't touched them. I don't need to buy another Far Cry game.
I'm just
All right.
saying.
Well, let's go ahead and go to the next guest. Mr. Bushido, tell us where we can find you.
I'm sorry, phone rang again. What'd you say again? I'm sorry.
Tell us where we can find you, man.
You can find me on Wednesday night.
I'm the one drinking. All of you guys are drinking fucking dinosaur piss. I'm the one drinking, and all of you guys are acting drunk.
Where did this dinosaur
You
piss
sound
come
jealous.
from?
Wise, you sound jealous right now.
I am jealous. Shit. Yeah. I mean,
Don't be wise. Don't be. Don't be. You can find me every Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the KY Bob Show, which is called Game Set Live. And that's it. I've only been doing one so far until I get back to normal health. And yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
By normal health, you mean not in your room rocking back and forth, thinking about Starfield?
Yes.
Tallies.
Yes. Yeah.
In a fetal position in the corner. Yeah.
Sandwiches.
Once
Once I get my Starfield fix and I can stop saying depression, then
that's my precious.
I'm sorry.
All right. We're of course everybody that is going to what we're going to put in the descriptions where we can find everybody. But let's go ahead and go to the next one. Loke, where can we find you?
You can find me at the PlayStation Store. My God.
He is.
Death Stranding.
How much is
Death
Silly paying?
Stranding is $20
Hey,
right
let
now.
me stop you.
60% off.
I bought it day one. I popped it in for like less than an hour. I haven't touched it since.
yeah, I played it for like 2, and I don't. Yeah,
Guys, I'm telling you, 6 hours in, it transforms. It's another game.
Why do I have to wait that long for a game to get
Exactly.
okay?
That's the issue I'm dealing with Exo Primal right now by Capcom. Be
Oh,
like,
that game
man,
sucks.
oh my gosh.
I find Scarlet Nexus is also $20
Oh
right
God!
Scarlet Nexus is absolutely worth the $20.
PlayStation gonna be
Terminator
cutting us a check of
Resistance.
some kind.
Terminator Resistance Enhanced Edition is also $20.
Oh, you definitely have to be getting paid for you to be advertising that game.
We got
Bring that up with me. That
Boys,
Terminator.
man.
Boys, World Rally Championship
Oh my
Generation
God!
is
Oh my
60% off.
Okay.
$20 right now.
Let's roll it back in.
Hey,
Why all of a sudden this show sounds like a QVC channel thing?
Exactly. I gotta get going. Look, where can we find you?
Who's
DS
QVC? Who is
Okay,
QVC?
don't worry about it. Just go
Who's
ahead.
QVC? Oh, I forgot. He's a youngin.
Hey, Wise, I wasn't fucking around. You can find me at the PlayStation Store. Where Remnant from the Ashes Complete Edition is
Oh
now
my
going
God.
to $18.
I have it on PC, so
I don't want to
Oh my
silence
God.
this. I think I'm gonna
This
be forced
segment
to
is
do
brought to
so.
you by Sony.
Thank you very much. See you guys next Friday.
Cerebral, where can we find you? Sir? Please don't tell us anything about the PlayStation or Xbox. Where can we find you, Cerebral?
Oh, you can find me at the PlayStation Store. No, I'm kidding.
My guy,
Nope.
my guy. I'll send you the check when they send.
Yeah. You can find me on Twitter, CerebralPaul1, Twitch is CerebralPaul, on the Xbox Ambassador channel every Tuesday afternoon, 12:30 p.m. Pacific at 3:30 Eastern for Gaming Differently with Cerebral Paul. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays on Gaming Differently with Cerebral Paul. Tuesdays with the Retro Renegades. And Fridays right here on this show, whatever it's called now.
Wasted
Whatever
with Wise.
That's the one. There you go.
www.
Mass Effect Legendary Edition is $15.
Oh God! Praxis, you're next. Where can we find you?
Although I do need to get my brother to play Mass Effect. I've been telling my brother to play
Bro,
Mass Effect.
it's $15, bro.
No,
It's
God.
$15.
So
Praxis,
yes,
please put us out of our misery, please.
No. on Twitter it's at Praxis Darth, and then on Xbox it's Darth Praxis if you want to play with me at some point in time. Someday.
And you can find him here every Friday evening.
Yes, you can. That too. I'll remember that next time. Unless some of these people show back up, then fuck, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
That's why I say you need alcohol
It'll
to deal with this
hurt
panel.
less. All right.
Triple, where can we find you?
Yeah, when I'm not hooked to Destiny trying to finish out the Solstice events or just wasting time on it, you can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch at Triple Combo Gaming. Twitch, I've been spawning spontaneously on there, but OBS has been crapping out on me randomly, so I gotta fix that. I feel like if I update to the latest version, it's gonna blow up. So I just haven't been doing that. It literally just like I'm playing like, oh yeah, man, I have a good time. I look to my right, to my second monitor, it's just frozen, and I'm just like, God damn it. So
Good old OBS.
yeah.
All right.
Old
And
bullshit. Sorry.
I am, as always, the Wise Old Gamer. You can find me here every Friday evening, 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central.
Sorry to interject real quick. Why does your background look like the Windows XP, like the blue skies and the little green in the back?
Yeah, because that is the actual window.
Yeah, I know.
That's
It's
not-
just I just made me think
that-
of that Windows XP stream for some reason.
Cut the cam.
See, this is
Cut
why
the
you guys
cam.
need to learn to turn off your monitors and your TVs and look around that there's a world that this is not a Windows
I was
logo.
sweating my ass off
Windows.
outside earlier. That's why I was late.
That's a real place, Wise?
That
Oh,
is a
man.
real window. This is a real, like, this is my
I
actual
believe you,
office
man.
that I'm actually teaching.
Bullshit.
Well,
That's
so.
AI. That is AI.
You can find me here. You can find me Wise Old Gamer with a Z on Twitter, PlayStation, Xbox. This was our inaugural show. Hopefully everyone had a great time. I want to thank all the panelists except for Supernova because he fucking
Fuck my life,
ghosted me.
yeah.
Exactly. But I think I told him
30
to drink on
lashings.
I told him to drink on the show. He started drinking before the fucking show, so I guess that explains matters, So, anyways, I want to thank everyone who came out in the chat to show up. RPG88, Nelson Gaming, and Back from the Dead One. Thank you for guys for showing up. Please, if you like this show, if you had a good time, please retweet this. I'm trying to grow slowly and steadily. There are more things to come with this. We're going to be doing merch. We're going to be doing Patreon, etc. And you can catch us with this panel every Friday night at 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central. What would it be like? What was it? 3:30 Pacific, I guess. I don't know. Anyhow, that's it for us, guys. And that's it. Hopefully you guys have a
Bye.
great night, and
Have a wonderful
we
time.
are going to go out.
Check out that PlayStation Store.
Let me end this thing before the
Oh my god.